Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Summer Barnyard Brawl 2018, brought to you live here from the Red Barn in Greenville, South Carolina. We've got a great weekend of 40K prepared for y'all, and we're so excited to be bringing this cast to you live today. My name is Nathan, and I will be one of your commentators today. I'm from Roundabout Gaming Team, which will be bringing this cast to you all weekend. And with me is TJ.
How's it going, guys? Super excited to get started. We've got a great first game. We've got Walsh and then Aaron, if memory serves.
Yeah, it should be a great opening round. Both these players, come in pretty prepared, and
Yeah.
Michael was actually the champion from the first round of the Barnyard Brawl back earlier before the summer. So he's here seeing if he can defend the belt
Yeah.
and take it home one more time for the North Carolina crew. And he'll be playing against Aaron, who has brought a gorgeous Imperial Knight
sure.
and Admech army today.
For sure.
So you guys will be able to see that here pretty soon. It is a beauty to behold. So check that out.
Did you see the knight?
Yeah.
The knight about to crush a war truck?
Yeah,
It's amazing.
yeah, it's gonna be great. We'll have it on the table for you guys briefly, I'm sure. So both players getting ready right now. The first round's gonna be starting in just a few minutes. And we'll be bringing you play-by-play through the whole game, along with all the rest of the rounds this weekend. So it's going to be a bunch of great 40K, and we hope y'all are going to enjoy the ride. This game, we've got Mike. He'll be playing a Imperium Soup list, and he's bringing today a little bit different than what he brought to the first Barnyard. He has swapped out his Custodes 3 bike captains and the banner bearer for a Knight Castellan.
Okay.
So he's bringing the big boy.
Okay. I feel like that's great preparation for the chapter approved coming up in September.
Yeah, it certainly could be. I mean, a lot of people are thinking that there may be some changes to what you can do with Custodia Supreme Commands, what you can do with the IG battalions and things like that.
I think the big running guess right now is that they're going to get pushed to 1. Of course, there's no confirmation for it.
Yeah.
But they're just such a dominant unit for their cost that something has to be done to kind of rein them in. So we'll see what Games Workshop's got in store.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting release this October, right after Nova. But as of right now, I actually talked with Mike when he was putting this list together, and one of the deficiencies, or I guess one of the difficult things for him at ATC this year, was actually scoring First Blood.
Okay.
And then also, if there was armor on the other side of the table, he was having a tough time cracking vehicles. And so he thinks the Castellan is going to do a really good job of enabling his army to do that. So we'll see if that pays off today.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and then along with that, he has a brigade of Imperial Guard. This is the pretty standard brigade that we've been seeing at the competitive level. Some small variations. He's got 7 infantry squads instead of 6. So a little bit different than standard, but they're Catechin, so those guys are giving him pretty good value with the extra strength, and then the characters providing the attacks buff. So
yeah, absolutely.
yeah, three strength, 4 attacks coming out of every one of those IG models is going to be a good place to be.
Yeah, it's just weighted dice.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
when you look at what they can do and how quickly they can get across the field, the thing you almost never think about with guard is they're charging me.
Yeah.
So you've got their standard move, advance, and then orders to run. And they're going to be across the board inside of things you don't want them to be in, just very, very quickly interrupting everything.
Yeah. Yeah, they suddenly go from a unit that is just there to take up space to a unit that can actually fight you, and it can become a problem real quick.
It's really impressive just how quickly that can get your opponent on their back foot.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially when you're hiding characters in there and things like that. It's just a lot of damage that's hard to perceive when you're playing against that army.
Yep.
And then of course at the same time, what it's built around and what it's creating a screen for is a Castellan and then a couple of Smash Captains out of the Blood Angels and Mephiston. So there's some real heavy hitters standing behind those deceptively powerful units. So
Something to mention in case people aren't super familiar with Catachan, they get +1 strength.
That's correct. So
So,
they're
so
at
for
strength 4 in combat.
right, so anybody sitting there going, "That's not right," it is, it is.
Yeah, and then he has Strachan and a uh, priest.
Okay.
So he's actually getting each one of those characters provides a +1 attack
Yep.
aura. So yeah, 3 strength 4 attacks per
Yep.
guy. It's a
I don't
lot of
know if you
dice.
remember, you used to actually have to roll for that prayer.
Oh really?
So
Not anymore. You just get it.
you just get it. It's like we've got this prayer down.
Yeah, so we see the players right now are talking through their pregame choices. It looks like Mike is going over his psychic powers. He's going to be taking Psychic Barrier on his Astropath.
Okay.
And then I believe on Mephiston he's taking Wings and Quicken.
Okay.
So he's looking to definitely turn Meph into a heavy hitter there.
Doesn't take much help.
That's a fair point.
Doesn't take much help.
Even more than he already is. Yeah.
Oh, right. Absolutely.
Now on the other side of the table, Aaron, he has got a combination of a couple of things. He's also playing a mix of different books out of the Imperium. He starts off with a Night Warden in a super heavy auxiliary. That's going to be, let's see, which houses he got. He actually has a custom house. So we'll see once they start playing which stratagems he's decided to
He'll
choose
probably
to go
go
with.
Questor Mechanicus.
Yeah, and then it'll probably be either House Tyrannus or House Raven, but we'll see once the game gets started.
Okay.
But yeah, that Night Warden, it's got the Avenger Gatling with Heavy Flamer, and then it looks like he went with an Iron Storm Missile Pod for the Carapace weapon as well,
Yeah.
and he's got a Reaper Chainsword on it as opposed to the Fist.
Perfect.
Going into the rest of his army, he's got a battalion of Admech, Adeptus Mechanicus, headed up by Belisarius Cawl.
That's what.
He's got a Tech Priest Dominus in there, so some strong characters providing some good auras for his army. As for his troops, he's got 2 units of Skitarii Rangers and a Skitarii Vanguard unit. Those are all min squads, so just 5 mans, give him a bit of spacing.
Yep.
And then he's got a unit of Sicarian Infiltrators. And then in the heavy support slot, he's got the Castellan robots, the 90s, 50s space robots. I love those models.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. They
And
make
they
me think
are
of Big
the
Hero
shooty,
6.
the shooty. Yeah, right. They've got that sort of rotund.
Yes,
build,
exactly.
Yeah, lots of DACA coming out of those robots, so it'll be interesting to see if he's able to leverage the offensive output of those in this game. That's definitely going to be a key for him. And then he's also got 2 Onager Dune Crawlers, one with the Icarus Array and one with the Neutron Laser. So he's got 1 heavy hitter and 1 with a lot of shots. The Icarus Arrays, they bring a combination of 3 different guns that are all part of that array. Now he can't target separate units because it's all 1 gun, but it's 10 total shots, so it's quite a lot of DACA coming out of that model.
Absolutely.
And then in this was one I'm a little excited about. He's got a Termite Assault Drill in here.
Yes.
And I saw the model for the first time today when he brought it to the table, and it is awesome.
Oh yeah.
If y'all haven't seen it yet, it's gonna be it's awesome.
Yep. Yep.
And
absolutely.
then to round it out, he has a Supreme Command of Inquisition. We've got Kotiaz, Greyfax, and Lord Hector Rex in that detachment. So definitely some tricksy play that he's got there on the back end.
Inquisitor Kotiaz.
Yeah.
What year is it?
So we should be lined up for a pretty good game here. Both players have well-rounded lists. They've got a lot of firepower and some good units that they can use for spacing to compete over those objectives.
Absolutely.
And so they're talking through lists together right now, making sure everybody's up to speed on exactly what they're capable of doing with their armies.
So as it happens, we were talking about the Catachan and how much of a threat they become, how quickly. The Admech tend to be one of the very few armies in the game that have the answer for that. You can put the Castellan in Conqueror Protocol. They automatically start double firing. So even with only 2 of them, you're at 36 shots, re-rolling any miss, and then they're wounding on 2s.
Yeah.
So it very quickly you can just kind of move through things.
So 6 and a 4.
And so here we go, guys.
I'll roll for deployment. 3.
On the wall up there. I don't know. Can't. Are your eyes good enough to see the back wall there?
So we got deployment 3.
I always break it out.
All right, so the players are going to be using Scenario 5 from the ITC missions today. So they've got 5 objectives set up. We've got basically a diamond with a centerpiece is what we're going to be looking at. And the way that you get the bonus for the primary on this mission is by leveraging your characters to hold those objectives.
Yeah.
So we're on Search and Destroy for the deployment. So that's the one where we cut a circle in the center with a 9-inch radius, and the players take 2 corners.
Yep.
And so we'll see which corners they end up in. There's 2 corners that have pretty good ruins that the players could take advantage of here. And then there's another 2 options that's are at the bottom left and top right corners there that just have area terrain.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how they set these corners up, because that could pretty heavily change how easy it is to turtle back there. So.
Absolutely. I think it really comes down to where the call ball's coming down. I think that's going to be a kind of a make or break. So if Walsh takes good care of that and makes Aaron play on the back foot or doesn't give him optimal deployment, he's going to spend more time moving the robots than shooting them.
Yeah.
And once they've moved, their ballistic skill kind of goes out the window.
Yeah, their efficiency drops pretty quickly when you start pressuring like that. And he definitely does not want to get those charged by some Cadgens today. That would not
Well,
be a good
he's
place
got
for
the
me.
combustors, so Overwatch will be really nasty.
Yeah.
But even still, you kill, insert X amount of them, and there's just another wave right behind them. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Walsh leverages the blob in this game. The ability to combine different IG squads. He's got 3 walking squads with no mortars, and he's been leveraging those a lot to push the center of the table.
Okay.
And with that center objective and some decent amount of line of sight blocking terrain there in the middle of the table, it could be a good place for him to hold and castle up around.
I gotcha. Okay, so that folks are aware, the poker chips are your objective markers. So that's where you're gonna see people moving towards, sitting on. So we wanted to go ahead and make sure that was clear. Typically those can be anything from pieces of terrain to little cardboard punch outs. Here at the Brawl, we're going with poker chips. So one thing that is interesting to me, how do you think the Rough Riders come to play in this?
Well, they give Walsh's army a lot of flexibility with where he wants to put a presence on the table.
Yep.
And because they can outflank, so they can come off or come on rather from the board edge. That can be any board edge. Now, for the first turn, he'll have to stay in his deployment. But as soon as we get into the second turn, he's going to gain the ability to bring these 3, not terribly threatening units, but relatively small footprint units onto the table and really pressure Aaron's backline.
Yeah.
And so with Aaron having a significantly smaller amount of models in his army to screen, he's going to have to be very intentional about where he places every single one of his rangers.
Yep.
And every single one of his infiltrators, and how he spreads his characters to see what he can box Walsh out of. But it does give him the ability to take behind enemy lines as a secondary objective.
Right.
And it does give him the ability to very reliably score recon as well.
Yep.
Stuff like that are gonna be pretty conservative.
So what do you think he's gonna take?
12 inches from
I'm
the
thinking
table.
old school recon.
6 and then 12 inches from each
And
The last one, it is debatable. It could be behind enemy lines. If he's confident that his offense is going to come through for him in this game, he may take death by 1,000 cuts, because there are quite a few units in Aaron's army.
Yeah.
And the Castellan is a hell of a model for securing death by 1,000. But recon and old school are very likely here.
Yeah. Well, if you think about it, big game hunters kind of off the table. You might look at the super heavy.
Yeah,
So
if
because each of them have a super heavy, so you're going to be able to max that out.
yeah, if especially if Aaron decides to give the warden either a relic or make it a character, so it gets those additional rules.
Right.
That's gonna make it a character, which means that you can take Kingslayer on knights now,
Yeah.
and you only have to do, I believe it's 16 damage
Right.
to one of those knights in order to secure max points on that secondary objective. So.
Yep.
And then of course, if you're playing against a predominantly Knights army and they're not using the Grand Strategist Warlord out of the guard, if a Knight is the Warlord, you can actually score an additional point off of Kingslayer.
Yeah.
If you take it down that way.
It just it makes it something you have to levy early and say, do I actually want to do this? Which is a good drawback to the Knights army. It keeps them kind of balanced.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at the lists, I think the Castellan may be a tough thing to take down for Aaron here. He's got a lot of DACA, but not a super high volume of quality shooting, high damage shooting, high strength shooting. Other than the neutron laser on that one onager, you know, the Gatling cannon on the Warden, it's only strength 6. It doesn't line up all that great against other knights specifically.
Right.
So that could be a real challenge for him in this game. We'll have to see how he tries to mitigate the output of that Castellan.
So the thing to remember is he's Forge World Mars. So he's got Wrath of Mars. The infiltrators can come in and they're 5 shots apiece. So 2 command points makes it to where he's hitting on 3s, wounding on 5s, and any 6 is a mortal wound on top of an additional roll.
Yeah, those would be key for him.
Yes, exactly. And then the onager does a minimum of 3 damage per shot.
Yeah, on that neutron.
On the neutron laser, and that's something that a lot of people tend to forget. It has a minimum base damage. So
yeah, not having to worry about 1s and 2s on your D6 damage is a nice place to be.
Exactly. And that's one of those rolls where I consider a command point if I don't get 3 out of it. If he's really threatened, he can go a step further, blow a couple of, I think it's just 1 command point, and up the ballistic skill by 2. So it's almost impossible
yeah, this
to
Skitarii
miss.
strategy.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly. It's one of their protocols. But with Call right beside it anyway, it's hitting on 3s, re-rolling 1s and 2s. Call being one of the only captains in the game that can just give re-rolls regardless.
Yeah, he's basically a chapter master.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we got our secondaries, we got all our psychic powers, we got our warlord traits, we got all that shit.
All right, looks like the players are about ready to go here. We've got objectives in place, deployment zones are set. We'll probably see our first few drops in just a moment.
Yeah, he doesn't actually have these 2 things. All
He
he's
just
got
has
is
a
a
rifle.
rifle.
Okay, cool.
I have both things on there.
Yeah.
The players here making sure that they have their characters differentiated, so there's no confusion once models start dropping onto the table.
Yep.
Always good to set those precedents at the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
All right, my first unit is
What do you
out.
mean this guy wasn't? Wait, what? No.
I thought that was your warlord. No, that's your warlord.
There's a level of play where that has to just stop.
Yeah.
One thing that would be interesting, and I don't know if he's going to do it or not, would be if Aaron puts the Tech Priest in the drill. Because if he puts the Tech Priest in the drill, he has the opportunity to take advantage of the bonus points. Because the drill on turn 2 comes up wherever
Your
he wants it.
infiltrators, did they work?
Yeah, the
they
drill
can,
is
at the beginning
it's
of
definitely
first battle
one of
round,
the
right?
few
They
things
work
on the
like
table
seconds.
that I think the
Or they
Castellan
just
would
work like
legitimately
scouts?
not want to be near. And yeah, the strength, I think it's strength. It might even be over strength 8. I can double check.
Yeah.
But and then the mortal wounds, in addition to what the regular damage is, can really put some work in on a super heavy.
Yep.
Granted, you know, you're coming in 9 inches out. It's a bit of a big risky play, but hey, if you've got a command point reroll, it's definitely something you can get.
Exactly. I would almost still rather use it to play the objective than to threaten the Castellan. It's obviously a threat to anything it can get near, but with the number of Catachan bodies, it's just so easy to stop and turn one group and send them right at the drill, and the drill's never able to get through them.
Yeah.
So I feel like Walsh being you've mentioned in the past, Walsh is a more he plays the counter game. He waits for his opponent to make a move and then kind of responds accordingly while still playing his own game, and that gives him because it's got to come up on its own. And as long as he's got any kind of screen in the process,
Yeah.
9 inches typically becomes 11 inches, makes it not a charge you want to try to make.
Yeah, Aaron's ability to clear that screen, I think, is going to be a really important part of this game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whether or not he's able to chew through, those guardsman blobs and actually get to the point where he can get to attacking the characters is going to be key. So we've got Aaron here getting his canticles down for the first turn.
6-3 for the benefits, and then 6.
So he's got Canticle 6 and Canticle 3.
That's Electromancer and Omniscience. So he'll be re-rolling hits, and 3 is irrelevant.
On your phone.
Well, he has Call, so he could shift that.
On Facebook, so I can share it, please. All right, people can start watching. I'm kind of getting blown up. People want to watch your stream.
My qualities are once per battle round, I can re-roll a single hit roll, wound roll, damage roll, charge roll, or a saving throw.
Cool. So
And,
he gets Victor the Blood Games, basically.
and I'd say Mysterious Guardian, so it gets to do a heroic intervention up to 6 inches, as if it were a character.
Oh, that's badass.
Yeah, 6 inches is really pretty cool. My burden is impetuous in nature.
So-
While it applies, every move that I make, and this is at the beginning
Give
of
him
each
1
turn, I guess I
second.
roll the 2d6 and check my leadership for it. Every move that I make must take it closer to the nearest enemy model.
Okay, so he's got to continue to move closest to the nearest enemy model with the Knight. When he uses the Knight's ability, it looks like that's the one he's picking. So he's making the Knight aggressive. Is that what it's looking like?
I think he's going to have to here. He doesn't really have. Wait, was that the Warden or the Castellan?
2 squads down.
I believe they were talking about the Warden.
Okay, yeah, I think the Warden's going to have to be significantly more aggressive from a positioning standpoint than the Castellan's going to have to be. Ultimately, with the 12-shot Gatling, the Iron Storm missile pod, and Stomps, that's one of his best anti-horde units
I
on
guess
the
so.
table right now.
I guess so, yeah.
And in order for him to win this game, he's going to have to get a lot of mileage out of all of his damage output.
Yeah.
So he's probably just doubling down on that, with his choices there.
That's the gold
Okay.
squad.
Okay. My next deployment then, my Vanguard with the 2 plasma guns. And
So what's going in the drill?
all going in my
If anything.
drill.
I don't know that he can afford to put too much in it, to be honest.
Okay.
Already I have 1 dead Photard dude. He's falling down on the job.
So we've got
So they're in the
deployment.
drill. What your Mars, right? Gives you call.
I am Mars.
Okay. And what does that do?
So it's a lot like a reserve again. It comes in 9 inches away at the end of any.
Oh, no, not the drill. Your what's like the Mars trait?
So they're talking about
Um,
Mars traits, which will be Static Shroud Slump with Call. So he can add and subtract 1 from the roll. So his 6 will very easily stay a 6 because that's a re-roll. The 3, did you catch if he said he was moving that?
Yeah, I believe he is. I
It
believe
would
he shifted
probably go to Shroud Solemn, would be my guess.
Yeah, that's I'm pretty sure where he went. Doesn't make a ton of sense for him to be
roll 2 dice instead of 1.
It would be
re-rolling in the fight phase
Yeah,
this turn,
yeah,
unless he
exactly.
thinks he's going to be able to get the Warden in on the first turn.
Yeah.
Because he can use that stratagem out of the Imperial Knights Codex to give the Canticle to the Knight.
Yeah.
Since he's gone Question Mechanicus.
That's a lot of command points spent early though. So
It is, and he with just that 1 battalion really generating him command points, other than the extra +1 for the Supreme Command, he's going to be a little tight on CPs this game.
yeah. Well, Wrath of Mars is a big one for him, and it's not cheap. So it's a question of if and when and what's worth going after, and about the only thing I can see that's worth spending the points on that he'll have an easy shot to is the Knight.
Yeah.
So, but with the infiltrators, and the drill, Mike's gonna have to keep an eye on the objectives, and I mean I don't see that being a problem for him.
Yeah, he's got a good footprint. He's got a lot of characters that he's going to be able to leverage as a part of this scenario 5 out of the ITC missions. Um, the drill though does give Aaron a good way to fight back. You know, the fact
Right.
that he can, like you said, put the tech priest into the drill and then deliver a character to an objective could be a significant benefit for him in this game.
No, I agree.
We'll have to see if he does that though. Which objective is it, and what areas of the board does he actually get to contest here without putting his units too far forward? The characters that are in the IG brigade for Walsh, he's got 2 power fists in there.
Okay.
And then he's also got a power sword, and since he's Catachin, he can take the relic power sword. So
Okay.
a lot of deceptively quality attacks that can come out of those units if the characters are hiding within the actual guardsmen.
Yeah.
48 for everything except the heavy stubborn.
And all of their guns
So we're
are-
talking about
so just declare
the Onager right now. Whenever you start to list that thing's payload, it's intimidating. So, and the fact that you can repair it also helps. So he's got the engine seer. But again, does the engine seer go out for objectives, or does he play back and play repair?
Yeah, it looks like he's got that one objective at the top right corner there in his deployment zone.
Yep.
I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to keep the dune crawlers relatively close to that, so he can do just what you were saying.
Yeah. Well, he's definitely got coverage. I think the shortest range is the stubber at almost 2 feet.
Yeah.
So,
And it looks like the players did opt for the corners that have the area terrain as opposed to the ruins.
okay.
So a little less coverage in the deployment zones with this than they maybe could have had if they went with the other corners with those ruins.
Well, Call's almost always going to give cover because at the beginning of the turn, you're rolling 2 dice. You can add or subtract 1, average on a dice. You know, you should almost always hit a 4.
Yeah, pretty easy to get that plus
Yeah,
1 out.
exactly. So while in most cases you would want ruin, it almost hurts Aaron to go that direction. So, and
It'll be interesting to see if either player is able to leverage the upper floors of the ruins that are on their table with any of their higher value infantry models to prevent the knights from getting in on them this game.
yeah, that could help. I'm not entirely. I don't see any of the AdMech doing it, except for maybe the infiltrators. Maybe there's just they don't move that much.
Yeah.
And that's a big problem for Aaron in this matchup is board control. Anytime you're playing AdMech, you have to deal with board control. If you don't play Stygius and you play Mars, all of your stuff kind of centralizes around Call, typically.
More of a castle.
Exactly. So if you were able to, say, deploy in the middle of the board, it would be a little bit different. But here, he's got to deploy back, and as you can see, he's already got... He's starting the whole ball already.
Yeah.
So both onagers are in the far back corner. A little bit further behind them are some troops to hold the objectives, and then right in front of them are the Castellans. And he's going to play this game where he's going to determine what's worth giving up as the opponent comes in. You're going to give up a sacrifice piece to keep the lion's share of your firepower available.
Yeah. And so we see Walsh here now deploying one of his infantry units. The larger base you see there, that's the mortar team, and then the smaller base is the rest of the infantry that are in that unit. He's got a big footprint for
Yeah.
this deployment site.
Yeah.
They're packed in relatively tight into those table quarters. It'll be interesting to see how much space he leaves between each of his units. You know, he doesn't have to worry all that much about team strikers this game, other than the drill coming in.
Well, the drill and the infiltrators are going to both do that.
Yeah.
So,
Holding that quarter should be fairly easy for them.
Sure.
He's probably looking to expand out in
Yeah.
his first movement phase and really push further and further back any of the units that Aaron's got at his disposal to try and threaten the Castellan, because that Castellan being House Raven, minimum 40-inch range on all of its guns except for the twin meltas, and it can advance and shoot with no penalty.
Yep.
So that thing has roughly a 60-inch threat range.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
So they have like a 40
It's interesting. You look at this, and clearly the Imperial Guard have corrupted a knight. They're members of the Gene Stealer cult, and they're trying to steal artifacts from the Adeptus Mechanicus. That's got to be what's happening here.
We got to make sure Walsh doesn't hear that.
I mean, he's the one attacking Admech.
This squad, the front half is blue,
There is no recorded history of Admech ever being corrupted. Now, Admech write the history, but that's not the point. So, okay.
All right, we've got a heavy weapons team that's come down. It looks like we may have a couple of characters dropping in now for Walsh as well.
and he can deep strike because he's a Terminator.
And we've got one of the Inquisitors deep striking here. It looks like that is going to be. Looks like that'll be Hector.
Would make more sense.
Yeah.
So, Greyfax and Kodiaz would almost only be there for anti-psyker. So Kodiaz has a psychic presence. I'm almost positive.
Yeah, let's double check.
I know Greyfax does, and Greyfax is actually an incredible psyker. So, and I had talked to Aaron briefly about what options Admech have as far as anti-psyker with Magnus and Mortarion, and giving buffs out even from Primaris psychers for guard, and the only options are really Inquisitors or Calexis assassins. So
Yeah, unless you're dipping into psychers of your own from another part of the Imperium.
Right.
Yeah. Now the assassins and the Inquisitors, they can do a heck of a job at it.
yeah, they can,
But it does give you that one model.
Yeah,
allows
exactly.
you to-
Well, and the other issue is you either take one and get the command point, or you take three and you don't, because they don't have an HQ.
Right.
So it becomes a question of which one's worth more. And for AdMech, they already struggle to generate command points. So I would rather go the HQs and get the command point out of it.
Yeah, I think it makes sense, especially with him wanting to have the ability to use stratagems on the knight, having that one extra point instead of potentially a -1 from taking an auxiliary for a, assassin.
Yeah.
It leaves, that's effectively +2.
Yeah.
And, he's picking up an offensive psyker potentially too. It does give him a couple of smites in there, and there's a lot of players, especially over in the European metagame, who just do not play without at least 2 psychers.
Yeah. Well, and I was right.
My other two squads
Excuse you.
fighters are my
I was right. Kodiaz is a psyker, and I haven't seen him since 7th edition, so it took me a second, but I knew I was right. So he's got 1, 2. Is the other one?
Does he have what? I'm sorry.
Is not Greyfax, but Hector. Is Hector a psyker too?
Hector, let's see. Hector is also a psyker.
Okay.
And it looks like he can actually throw up 3 denies with his psychic hood.
Perfect.
So that's some great anti-psyker.
It's gonna do him a lot of good against the Imperial Guard, but all the psychic might of the Catachan.
Yeah, this game he'll probably just be looking for some extra smite offense. But
Yep.
There's going to be a lot of armies at the tournament this weekend. where
Absolutely.
That anti-psyker is going to play dividends. So now we really see the deployment zones for each player starting to take shape. You're seeing basically a border
Yeah.
lined by guardsmen.
Just a living wall.
Yeah. And Mike trying to make good use of the terrain there that's in his deployment zone, making sure he's deploying some models outside of line of sight from the big knight and the robots there.
Who doesn't like getting shot in the face? I mean, that's no fun.
And just like you were expecting, based on the choices that Aaron made pre-game with how he kitted out that knight, it is front and center,
Oh, yeah.
ready to mix it up.
It's gotta be. It can also bypass the troop choices, so it's just going to be able to go over the top of the Catachan.
It still follows all
But
dimensional restrictions, right?
you still can't
So
underestimate
outside your
that,
deployment zone.
because even if they're only strength 4,
Mm.
they're 4 attacks
So
apiece,
the crawlers, how far
3
do they
attacks
see?
apiece. Yeah, no, 3.
They're pretty
3
fast.
attacks apiece,
Yep.
6 maybe?
and
8 maybe? I'm not sure.
there's countless of them.
Yep.
So between that and the power fists and the relic sword,
Okay, so
he could
they're
very
36.
easily see
36?
death by
48 on
5s.
neutron laser.
So
Yeah, and that's not even factoring in, that a Smash Captain can get in there with his Thunderhammer. A Fiston can mix it up in there with
Yeah.
Heavy weapon.
with his wounding on 2s against
Oof.
How far away is
That Blood Angel ability is so strong. It's so
Plus 1 to
strong.
wound on the charge is a
Yeah.
great chapter tech or Legion trait.
Now, the only salvation to that situation is if the Knight charges, because it prevents that abuse. But then you've got to worry about heroic intervention from the Smash Captain. So it's a lose-lose. Like, what do you charge at that point?
Yeah.
But you've got to charge something, because otherwise it's just going to charge you first.
Yeah.
So
It puts your opponent into a really tough situation, and I think that is why Walsh has developed such an affinity for this army, because it allows him to create a scenario in the game where he's just gradually shrinking the number of options his opponent has.
yeah,
And in a game as tactical as this one, that is a significant advantage.
yeah.
Actually, he'll be back here then.
So it looks like the last bit of deployment here, the IG characters are coming down. Strachan,
You can tell which ones are
the Ministorm Priest, a couple of Power Fists, deploying pretty close to that blob of IG that you see behind that center terrain piece. Remember, we are playing ITC, which means the first floor on all of the ruins that are on the table is line of sight blocking, even if there are openings in the physical terrain that we see. So all of his IG, not being any taller than that first floor, he's going to be able to leverage that big L there near the center as a pretty good way to mitigate how many things can shoot at that blob of IG characters and infantry.
Gotta love toe and cover.
So they're worth 10. So I do have a stratagem that lets me
And
combine
with that center
squads.
terrain,
And if they combine squads,
and the knight behind it,
then
he
you
may
get
be able to get a cover save on the knight this turn. It doesn't look like he is actually
Oh,
touching
I wouldn't say
terrain,
irritating. I would say strategic.
but
Right. It's a
Straight
wonderful
strategic.
strategy.
oh, and it looks like we can see now Mike has some scouts deployed in this this building outside of his deployment zone. So
Okay.
they've moved up, and
Oh, yeah,
they're
look
going
at
to
that
be
over there.
immediately
Yeah,
trying to take that.
And there's the
corner
handshake.
objective. Yeah, so here we go.
You got
We're going to see who
6.
goes first.
I got a 5, so you'll go first.
All right,
Okay.
so with the plus
Um,
one,
I think I'll try
Aaron's
to
going to
see
get to go first
Sounds
here.
good.
So we'll see if I can, on the
Mike's
first
going to see
roundabout
if he can
stream,
seize.
hit this 6 real quick.
Boom.
No.
All right.
All right, so Aaron's going to be taking the first turn here, and we're about to get into the action.
Got a
The
few
first of
mechanicals
many
here.
blessings of the Omnissiah.
So 2 plus or minus 1. I will take that as the re-rolling. I'll change that down to a 1. So I can
He's going to move that to
re-roll
Iron
morale past
Soul.
Okay.
That's going to give him a reroll to morale.
And that could pay dividends on this first turn with his ranger
Four,
units.
some shrouds on. I will keep that.
And you
And he's going to keep Shroud.
I get
it
both.
looks like.
Yep.
So
For Mars,
Like
all
you
my units
expected.
are
Yep.
both.
okay,
putting a
so
lot
you
of value on the
get basically
plus
like
one
you
to
were
his
in
saves
cover.
on this first turn.
Correct.
Makes a lot of
You
sense. If you're getting shot by las
And a
pistols,
reroll.
having a plus one on your armor is probably a good place to be.
Yep.
All right.
So one fun
So
thing
scoring on
about
each side,
the
primary
Castellans,
column,
they're going to
that's
start
secondary column, and
in
then
a
I'll do
protocol
turn
that
by
improves
turn.
their armor and their
Okay.
invul.
Mhm.
And so any, and I believe any 6s rolled on the save bounce a mortal wound back at the source.
I have my
That's
burden
the.
turned
Is
on,
that
so these
Mars
are
does that, or is that
No,
the?
that's just the robots.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. So there'll
Oh
be a
yeah, that's right. They have that field.
Yep,
Yeah.
Yep. There'll be a 2 up, 5 up. No, 2 up, 4 up. 2 up, 4 up
Yeah.
out of the gate.
Yeah.
And then any 6s rolled on the save or a mortal wound.
Yeah, that's a good way to try and return some damage onto
Yeah.
Potentially some IG or even something like the Castellan shooting there. If he can go gangbusters with some 6s, might be
Yeah.
able to get some mileage.
It makes it not worth it to shoot them, because las guns are wounding on 5s, wounding on 6s. Las guns are strength 3, Castellan's a tough 6.
Mm.
So they're wounding on 6s. So I don't even think you're going to see the Castellans get shot at. Knight's
Yeah,
coming up the
it's
board.
pretty high risk from the numbers you just put down. So I wouldn't be all that surprised if. Ooh, and here comes that knight.
Yeah, just going for the gold right out of the gate.
Yeah, and with that move, he may be looking to leverage the advance and charge stratagem this turn, wheeling it just a little bit back. But he's definitely going to need to forward project here because as soon as that massive IG gets in on that center objective, it's going to be very difficult for Aaron to get the center of the table back.
Yeah, I agree. He's already got his hands full just with the general lack of mobility that we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get any better once 8,000 guardsmen are sitting in the middle of the board.
So we got a little bit of shuffling out of the dune crawlers on the back there. Just at the bottom left corner of the screen, way back in that corner, Mike has his Castellan deployed about as far away as it could possibly be. He's definitely making use of that Raven chapter trait.
Still not good enough to hide it from the Onager cannon, though.
Yeah, he's gonna have to survive the 1 neutron. We'll see how much damage Aaron's able to get through off of that.
Okay, so he's already moving the Castellans.
Yep.
So he either doesn't see a target worth really focus firing, or he's just not worried about hitting on 5s this turn.
Yeah, well, based on where the guardsmen are placed and where those robots are, with that centerpiece of terrain, it doesn't look like he's got line of sight on more than 1, maybe 2 infantry squads. And so he's probably thinking just with volume of shots, he doesn't need the extra damage. It's possible, too, he doesn't want to clear out too much of it if he's trying to get a charge off with this knight. Doesn't want to make that range any farther than it needs to be.
Well, and what we were talking about earlier, I think is exactly what you see Mike Walsh doing right now, which is putting him on the back foot, making the heavy weapons have to move in order to see around the terrain, which is not where AdMech want to be. They want to sit stationary and just kill things as they come at them in waves. With my history with AdMech, it's been draw a line in the sand. Anything that crosses that line dies. Draw a new line in the sand. So when you have to move your line in the sand forward, that's a problem.
Right. So Aaron working through what his target priority is going to be this turn, making sure he's got line of sight on all the units that he wants to be able to focus down. Probably just going to try to take out as many guardsmen as he can this turn. He may try and go for the mortar team that's a little bit more out in the open in the back there.
You think Mike put that out there on purpose as a bait?
Giving your opponent, one of the mortar units is not a huge loss for the IG army. The army gives up a lot of kill points.
Yeah.
But we see here Aaron is working to declare where he's going to be putting his shooting with the knight here. He's putting a missile pod at a scout squad that's lying on the far left side of the board here. And then he's using those dice they just put near the bottom to represent where the Gatling cannon's going. So he is going to be targeting that infantry squad that's out front there. And the last thing to allocate for him is just that stubber.
I need to steal that idea. Just set whatever dice next to whatever you're going to shoot.
Yeah, it's a good way to, very clearly and cleanly declare your intent. All right, so we see 4 shots coming in the Iron Storm missile pod.
So 4 shots.
We'll see what he's able to get done on with this first volley. Looking for some 3s. Ooh, 3 1s there on the first roll. So it's 1 hit and no wounds.
3 or 4?
Strength 3.
There's toughness 3?
Or
Okay.
toughness 3. Yeah.
Toughness 3. All right, so the 2 will wound him.
Yeah, so with
Strength 6.
I think so.
the Iron Storm missile pod here, they're going to double check the stat line. I believe it's strength 5, so I believe he was looking for a 3 there. We'll find out in just a moment. But, the Iron Storm missile pod is a relatively cheap upgrade. Sometimes it gets there for you, sometimes not so much. But it is -1 AP and flat 2 damage, which is a pretty good place to be in the metagame right now.
Yeah, for sure.
Really, though, he's looking for to get some value out of this Gatling cannon.
All right, so then
He may be in range with the heavy flamer as well. We'll see in a moment here. All right, some stubbers coming down on the guards. 3 hits so far. Looking for 3s here, a couple of wounds.
I'm going to go ahead and do take cover on that squad.
Okay.
All right, so Mike using his first stratagem here. He's using take cover on the infantry squad that's being targeted by the knight here. He's rolling to see if he gains the command point back. So 1 die for Grand Strategist, 1 die for the Blood Angels relic, and he ends up getting that one for free. Ooh, double 6s on the first saves here. All right.
So far, so good.
All right, so that take cover will last until the end of the shooting phase, though. So this guard are going to be rocking a 4-up armor save. We'll see if that pays off. All right, now we're on the Gatling cannon. No 3s or 4s in that roll. All right, 7 hits here. We'll see. Wounding on 2s, he should be able to get some good work out of this volley. And that is 7 wounds.
Yep.
So since we saw the take cover, the guardsmen are actually going to get a 6-up save here. We'll see if Mike makes any saves. Doesn't look like it. So 7 dead here. That's going to leave 1 model.
That's the most frustrating thing in the world, isn't it? Missed it by that much.
Yeah, so actually I believe that'll leave 2 models. Yeah, 2 models. Because those infantry squads, when they have the mortar team, they basically take 2 guardsmen, put it onto 1 base, it only counts as 1.
Yep.
So then you don't need to take 5 other guys, right?
No, because it insta-kills him, so this is 1.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so the player's talking through here. The Gatling has a flat 2 damage on it as well. So the mortar has 2 wounds. Aaron just wanted to make sure that Mike wasn't giving him an extra model there. So good guy, Aaron, making sure he's not pulling one over on his opponent. But clean shooting there. Still 2 models left in that unit. It's likely we're going to see some more shooting come to that unit. Aaron's definitely going to want to secure kill 1 on this turn.
Yeah, absolutely.
Alright, so 12 shots coming from them.
Kill more doesn't feel like it should be difficult for him to get, but I think he's going to have to fight for it a lot more than people would imagine.
It's likely he will. Alright, so it looks like we've got 12 shots for the...
But they would normally hit?
But it doesn't. So call's different. His rule is
So the player's talking through here. One of the things about rerolls in 8th edition is the rerolls impact your die before the modifiers.
Right.
So
Oh, sweet. Okay, cool. You got it.
call though lets you reroll all hits,
Yes.
not just ones. So
He's basically a Primarch.
yeah, he's like a
He's basically a Primarch.
Terminator version of Gilliman.
real feature most of the time.
All right, so the rerolls on the shots here picks up a few extra hits.
Cool looking.
We'll see how much work
7.
Aaron's able to get here.
Strength 6.
Okay, so 2s. So what's that?
All right, so pretty good roll there.
Couple, right? 2, 4, 6.
Heavy phosphor blasters, and you don't get cover from these.
All right, so it looks like 6 models out of another guard unit. No saves here this time due to the AP value, because this unit was not hit with take cover. It'll be interesting to see if Aaron is more focused on killing the squads down to a man, or if he'd rather take tough leadership checks on several units this turn
Yeah.
to see what he can clear.
So if you're Walsh, where do you see yourself? So guard have options. It's not just I can choose to not take the morale check. They can also reduce morale checks to a D3. So
Yeah, he may here. It's going to depend on how many units he thinks he's going to use. His punch back is going to be pretty strong with that Castellan in the back line. He's got the option to leverage the Smash Captain. With the Knight pushed up as hard as it is, getting some characters into that combat, he's got some options here. With that being said, this early in the game, Aaron's still got some command points, may be able to interrupt a combat that happens. Really what it'll come down to is if Mike thinks that he needs kill more, and if he does need kill more, then how many does he expect to be able to take out on his turn? So we've got some more shooting coming in here. Looks like 2 more wounds. Oh no, that was hits.
Those
I'm
are the
sorry. So
rerolls.
5 hits. Right, the call rerolls.
Yep.
I haven't shot the neutron laser yet.
All right, so this is the Cognis heavy stubber coming out of the
Hey, what's up?
Onager with the neutron. He'll be shooting the neutron next.
Yeah, they painted the front red though to be Red Barn.
All right, so Mike makes one save there. But he's going to be pulling 3 more models. Looks like this is going to be coming from the guard squad on the front left flank. So we see, yeah, he's targeting a third separate infantry unit here.
Mhm.
Looks like he's going to cause a lot of those morale checks.
Yep.
What are you bringing?
The old Dark Eldar's objective: death by 1,000 cuts.
Yep. And he, I'm going to get us an update in between the first and second battle round. We'll see if he did take death by 1,000 cuts.
D3. So 3.
All right, so we got 3 shots coming out of the neutron here, so that's a good start. That's looking like some good hit rolls here.
Yeah, that's what you want.
Wow.
Ooh, not as good on the
Rough.
wounds there though. One gets through.
Alright. So that is
And it looks like the neutron just went into the guard there. The Castellan, as far back in the corner as it is, may have been able to get outside of range.
Huh.
Either that or the terrain that we've got there in the center of the table is preventing him from being able to shoot the Castellan without it having a +1 to its save.
Yeah.
But I'm like 1,000% sure you can't get to them. So the only thing you can get to is the silver half squad.
I would almost wonder if it's a range thing because it's a -4 weapon. So even if that were the case, the knight's on its invuln save either way.
Yeah, and I believe Mike took the +1 to his invuln warlord trait.
Okay.
For the Castellan, so he's on a 4++.
Mm.
With the rotating the ion shields, he can go to a 3++. It may just be that Aaron has decided that the knight isn't a realistic target this game. He may
Yeah.
just be trying to kill everything else, and he's going to take the punches that come from the Castellan. But we'll see. It looks like we are getting into the charge phase here. That knight warden going to be charging some guardsmen. Oh, see one wound coming out of the last pistol.
It happened.
There we go. There we go.
That's how legends are born.
So some flashlights taking a wound off of the knight here. Let's see if he makes the charge though.
Make that man a commissar.
All right, here we go. And he's got a big charge here, so the 11's going to get him into this combat. We'll see how much damage he's able to get out of this knight. He would definitely like to clear out some of that infantry that is looking to push the center of the table. All right, so he's in there. Just enough space to get the base on that knight in between those 2 pieces of terrain. But without being able to rotate, even though he rolled that 11, he's not going to be able to get any more distance forward on that charge because there's a guardsman in the way. All right, so Titanic Feet going to be coming in here. We're going to see 12 attacks coming in on the guard squad. He's be hitting on 3s, wounding on 2s. Here we go. All right, just a couple of misses there. Looks like 10 hits.
Alright, so I missed 2.
So you got 10?
Pretty sure everything else there looks like a hit. Yep. Alright. Wounding on 2.
Players making a good point to call the number before they pick up the dice. Great way to make sure that there's no miscommunication between opponents. Oh, and just 2 failed wounds there. Looks like 8 wounds coming through. So that's going to be 8 guardsmen being pulled from that unit. So we've got 3 different guard units that it looks like are going to have morale checks at the end of this phase. Actually, I'm sorry, 4. So two that have been put down to 2 models, and 1 that's been put down to 3, and then another that has lost, it looks like 3 bases there.
So I don't play guard. Where do you see yourself using the strategies here? Because you're getting 2 dice rolls per command anyway. So
it's rare when you're playing this army with the brigade and the battalion that you don't leverage every 1-point stratagem that can give you even a minor advantage.
Right.
Because I mean, sometimes you can even gain a command point
Exactly.
by doing that. With that being said, you know, the knight being in the list, it may change how Walsh is going to approach how he manages his command points in this game. The knight can definitely be a sink for command points. You know, 2 points for the House Raven strat, 3 points to rotate ion shields. But based on that first round of shooting, if he's not expecting a lot to come at his at the Castellan, he may be willing to burn some more command points. So Walsh getting his attacks back on the knight here. from the infantry squad. Doesn't look like anything came out of that, but he got that 1 damage on the Overwatch, so I think he'll call it a win. We're definitely going to see some characters probably mixing it up with this knight on the next turn.
For sure.
Either that, or he's just going to fall back and try and take it out with the Castellan. It'll be interesting to see if he just wants to push as much forward as he can and just forget about combat with the knight.
Yeah.
And try and take it down with the Call's Wrath and the Volcano Lance.
Yep.
All right, so we're coming to the morale phase here.
Yep.
Just double check in exactly the minus here on the dice. All right, so Mike trying to roll 1 here. It doesn't look like he's got it. So it looks like he is, well, at least on that unit, hasn't used the D3 stratagem yet.
Right.
And with the size of the minuses on those 2 squads, it may be correct to just let it happen. You know, he's going to need to roll 1s on a couple of these units anyway.
Yeah.
So with a 4 there and 3, that's 7. So it looks like that squad's going to be just fine.
And I will go ahead and fearless that squad.
All right, so Walsh choosing to use the straight fearless stratagem, not even worrying about the -2 or the D3. So we're gonna have 1 unit that's safe. He's gonna see if he gets these 2 command points back.
Yeah, I'm gonna fearless them. So we'll see if I get any back. I don't.
None back, so down 2 there.
He stays. I just don't get any back.
All right, so it looks like that's going to be turn for Aaron. And thanks to that 1 failed morale check, he was able to get his kill 1. So that's important. That's important. Killing 1 every turn is a really big part of staying competitive in ITC. So good to see him getting that there. He's definitely got kill 1, hold 1 at the end of his turn. Once we get to the end of the battle round, we'll see who gets the kill more, hold more, and total at the secondaries, and get that updated. So we're going into Mike's turn 1 here. It looks like he's just going to be planning out where he wants his movement. So altogether, that first turn for the AdMech army, what position do you...
Knight survives, he's in a good spot. If the knight goes down, he doesn't have an answer for the tide. Even with the drill, even with the infiltrators. Because then instead of using the infiltrators to try maybe some tricks with Wrath of Mars, he's using them to mop up guard.
Right.
And the only real prominent threat I see to the knight is the other knight, because otherwise they've got invuln saves against the shooting, and so if the knight goes down, Aaron could be in some trouble. If the knight stays up and continues to live on as the Omnissiah wills, then it should be a pretty interesting game.
Yeah, it definitely feels like the earlier he loses that unit, the more of an uphill battle it's going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we see Walsh getting into his movement phase here. He's leveraging the Rough Riders he started on the backboard edge to get another unit that's going to be able to fill in that corner objective. And immediately looking to take center of the table like we were expecting.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it looks like that is a scout squad. So he's got one of his Blood Angel scout squads there. And they're just going to advance past the objective, give a little bit of a buffer. It'll be interesting to see how many objectives Walsh is able to tag with his characters this turn. He needs 3 to get the bonus. And in order to position yourself in this tournament with the bracket format, where players after the first 2 rounds are divvied up into the different brackets, if you're trying to get in that first bracket, you need more than just a 2-0. You need to score as many points as you can every turn. And so it's likely we're going to see here Mike pushing for every single victory point he can get. But as we were anticipating, expanding out that line, increasing his footprint, making sure there's fewer and fewer opportunities for anything to get anywhere near this Castellan. But I think Aaron did what he needed to do with that knight. He pushed it up. He took a flank.
Yep.
And he's going to prevent Mike from being able to push in that direction, at least on this first turn.
So if you're Mike, it becomes a balancing game of, do I deal with the knight or do I just score points? Because the slam captains can go up against the knight, or they can go set on an objective.
Mhm.
So he's got enough characters.
Yeah.
He's definitely got enough characters to really take advantage of this particular mission type.
Yeah, he really does. I think there's roughly 9 HQs in his army.
Yep.
Because we've got Platoon Commander,
Mhm.
Minister and Priest, Astropath, Company Commander X3,
Right.
Mephiston, Smash Captain. So that's 9. And then the Knight, once it has a relic as a character, so that's 10.
Yep.
So, yeah, more than enough to try and hold these objectives. But, that gives him the flexibility to be able to leverage those characters for offense while still leveraging other characters to hold the objectives. So a good, probably a pretty good mission for this army
Yeah.
that
for
Mike's
sure.
bringing to the table here. But it'll be interesting to see if he wants to give himself options. The Castellan maybe is going to soften up the Knight, then come in with a Smash Captain to finish the job. Being this early in the game, and it looks like we're just getting some more advances out of Mike here. Being this early in the game with Aaron still having a healthy amount of command points, interrupt in combat is a very real thing that the captains may need to worry about.
Yeah.
We've played some test games with the Blood Angels coming into the Knights, and it's interesting. There's this. Do I interrupt? Do I don't? Because they're going to fight me again when they die.
Right.
It puts you in an awkward spot as the Knights player.
But they gotta die.
But they gotta die. Yeah, you can't leave them alive.
Yeah.
And then if you don't kill them, they can just spend the command points to fight twice at the end of the phase.
Yep.
So it looks like we've got some of those jump packs pushing up towards center. Walsh definitely positioning to be able to put a Smash Captain into the back line here. It looks like on the next turn. It'll be interesting to see, how much pressure he wants to put down on this first turn. It doesn't seem as though there's many threats on the Admech side other than this Knight that are really going to push the issue
Yeah.
in this game. Like you said, he's kind of drawn that line in the sand. He's got his back line. He says anything that comes too close to this is going to get shot down.
Yep.
But that centerpiece terrain, and with a lot of infantry in this IG Blood Angels and Knight army, Mike may be able to leverage some charges from behind line of sight. So
Yep.
mitigating that Overwatch could come in handy for sure.
So the Admechs suffer the ITC ruins rule. They probably struggle second to maybe Tau in dealing with that, and even Tau have for the greater good.
Yeah, well, and they've at
So-
least got the flying bases for their shooting platforms as well.
Exactly.
So we're into the psychic phase here, and it looks like psychic barrier down, and Mephiston.
Is he in range? Can he deny? He's gonna try.
All right, so that would have gone off on a 6. It looks like Walsh is going to span a command point here. He gets an 8, and he gains 1 off of that reroll. So 1 back from the 2 that he lost earlier. It is crushing for the morale when you see your opponent do that
Oh
at
my
the table,
gosh.
is it not?
I'm not being biased in this match, but as soon as I saw that, my eyes tried to roll through the back of my head.
Yeah, it can sometimes seem infinite when you're playing against this army, the amount of command points they have. But they use every single one of them. All right, so looks like a pretty successful psychic phase so far here for Mike. He was able to get Quicken and Wings off, so he's got some extra movement out of Mephiston. He's going to be a little stronger if Walsh decides to put him in combat. Issuing orders now at the top of the shooting phase. We've got a move. Mike is looking to expand out even further than he already has. It looks like he wants to get these guardsmen behind that terrain there, maybe block a little bit of line of sight.
Yep. And this is what we were talking about. You take this model he's moving right now, for an example. He started in his own deployment zone, and he's already most of the way across the board.
Yeah, well, and you see the measuring Mike was just doing there. He has the entire left half of the board
Yep.
completely blocked for those infiltrators.
Yep.
He put himself within range of that board edge, so alleviating a lot of potential pressure here.
Yep.
And that's allowing him to push up further with the knight, make sure that it's in good threat range. With the distance it's at, it may even be within charge range, although it's unlikely that Walsh is going to want to give the warden any chance at dealing damage to the Castellan here. We've got some get back in the fight on the squads that it looks like they did fall back from that knight here, so likely we're going to see some shooting come down onto the warden. Mike here just thinking through his target priority, figuring out where he wants to score his kill points this turn, what are the priority targets.
So you've got 23 wounds left. I'm within 12.
And using the advance out of that House Raven, it looks like he has gotten within range for the Melta shots.
Okay.
It's 3. They fact it.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, it's
3 now?
Woo! They made it match the night one.
Did not realize that. All right, I thought I was getting lucky by.
No, I thought the same thing. I was super stoked, and we looked at it for ATC, but they fact it the same day.
All right.
I'm gonna roll.
Well, we've clearly seen that the knight is susceptible to las cannon fire, so or las gun fire rather. So
Yeah, if you get enough dice, I mean, they're only on 3-ups. That 2+ armor save relic was great for me at ATC. It really helps mitigate that small arms fire. But even then, every time you lose a wound to a las pistol, it just feels
it
awful.
hurts on a spiritual level.
But yeah, it looks like the Castellan's going to be targeting the knight pretty heavily here. He may be splitting some of his shooting. Maybe the Siegebreaker cannons here with the strength 7 not quite as efficient against other knights as the rest of the guns on it.
Sure.
He's checking his range here on the onagers and the robots and potentially a unit of rangers.
I'm aiming at the onagers if it's me. I'm not taking shots at the Castellans because it's not worth the bounce back. They're on a 2-up, 4-up, and they're
Yeah, and with the
bouncing more
-1
wounds. Yep.
on the
Exactly.
on the Siegebreaker cannons, he may put the missile there to take away the invuln save.
Yeah.
Putting him on a
That'll do it.
6-up even with that 2-up armor. So that'll be interesting to see here. All right, so targets declared. We're going to get into the firepower coming out of this.
So it costs 2 to do that.
All right, so it looks like Walsh has chosen to use the Oathbreaker missile. So that 2-point stratagem coming out of the night gets 1 back. So it's pretty good when you get that stratagem for 1 command point.
Yep.
So that's going to allow him to shoot this missile. I believe he's targeting Kodiaz.
That cost me 1.
Oh, because he can snipe with that.
Yeah, and he's also using the House Raven stratagem, which means he's going to reroll all 1s for the Castellan through this shooting phase, whether it be hits, wounds, damage, or volume of shots. So that's a hit. He's rerolling the 1 here. He just needs a 2 to get this wound. He's rolling a different die, though. Oh,
No.
the 1 into the 1. All right. Always tough to see the double 1s there with a reroll, but looks like Kodiaz is going to live to see another.
The Emperor
another day.
protects.
Absolutely.
2, 3, plus 6. 2, 4, 5, 6 shots. Hits on 3s, reroll 1s. And their toughness 7. So wound on.
All right.
4s, reroll 1s.
So we do have those Siegebreakers coming in here. He's going to reroll those 1s, picks up a couple extra wounds. Nice value off the rerolls there.
Yep.
So, what's the AP and damage?
It's -1 D3 damage.
D3 damage.
Yep. And I'm down to 1 missile left on my Castellan.
All right, so -1. So they will have a 3+ armor save then.
Giving him the long shake,
They get their
trying to determine how much dies
Yeah.
per failed die.
And actually, I gotta think about this for a second. So they start out at 3+, they get 2+ for being in cover.
Yep.
And then
-1,
-1.
so back to a 3.
And then I get to.
So Aaron and Mike talking through the saves here.
My Aegis protocol. So I'm back to a 2.
Okay.
I think that's how
And so the Aegis protocol, we can double check here. He's checking to see if the Aegis protocol combined with the canticle from this turn is going to keep him on a 2-up even with that -1 AP.
I should have 3 2-ups, yeah.
And it looks like that is the case.
Yeah, it
so he's
should.
rolling 2-ups here.
Absolutely.
So D3 damage.
But of course, there's the one.
One does get through there, yep, and he gets the full 3 damage.
So we're gonna do
So half wounds on one of those 2 robots there.
Mhm.
Good start.
all 4 hit.
All right, so this is the 4 melta shots coming into the night. 4 hits there, great start.
Wound on 4s.
We're looking at wound on 4s here.
2 wounds.
So 2 wounds. No ones to reroll, but not bad out of those 4 melta shots. And now we see the first batch of invulns.
So D6 damage.
All right, first D6 coming through.
Damage.
Just 1 damage there.
Do you re-roll that?
You do.
I
We'll
think
see
you
if
do. think you
Mike
do.
remembers here.
So I'm gonna go ahead and use a reroll on this.
Okay.
In the shooting phase.
And it looks like he is rerolling it here, so
He
5
gets it
damage
back.
coming through.
I don't.
No, that was the damage
Well, it looks
roll.
like he used a command point reroll.
Yeah.
He.
I'm gonna do.
Let's double check that stratagem. He may not be aware that you can reroll the
6
damage.
Shots, 4 shots. Hits on 3s. Rerolls 1s.
All right, so here's the big gun.
Strength.
This is the volcano lance coming through. So strength 14. He's gonna be wounding on 3s, 3 hits.
Oh no, 2 2s.
Oh, 2 2s, so only 1 through. Let's see if he gets through the invuln save. It
Ah,
does.
command reroll that one.
Probably gonna see a command point reroll here, and we do.
Oh.
Oh, another 1 into a 1.
A lot of double ones today.
Unlucky for these guys so
Ton
far
of double ones.
with these rerolls, but 3d3 damage coming in off of that volcano lance, and looks like 4 there.
Reroll 1s because of House Raven.
All right, it looks like he has now remembered that he can reroll those ones. So 5 damage out of the volcano lance. Probably would like to see a little bit more, but Call's Wrath gonna look to put through some pretty significant damage here. We'll see.
5
All right.
hits.
5 hits off of Call's Wrath. He's gonna be wounded on 3s.
Wound on 3s, go to strength 9. Reroll 1s.
And with the reroll there, he's
Yeah,
gonna
so
get
4.
4. That was another 1 into a 1 there. Seeing a bit of a theme here coming out of the dice,
Wow,
and
pass 'em
but
Whew.
great saves coming out on the warden there. Those were 4-ups, and he makes all of them.
Yep.
So definitely less damage than Walsh was probably hoping to get there. We'll see if he decides to try and compensate with his combat step. Mephiston firing his plasma pistol here into the night. Gets a hit, but no wound.
Infiltrators have 2 wounds each, right?
All right, so now with the Castellan's first round of shooting here, probably a bit less output than Walsh was expecting. He may be rethinking some of his other target priority.
I can almost guarantee you he thought the knight would be dead by now.
All right, so it looks like we've got some last shots coming into the night, at least the ones that aren't going to be targeting anything else.
And
He's able to get
there's
through
the
another wound.
Oh, he saves it.
But a save this
He
time.
saves it. It's such a morale boost and hit. So the guard player, anytime you wound something big with a las gun, it's just like, woohoo. And then as an opponent, you're just like, come on, really?
Yeah.
Really?
There's no middle ground on
Yeah,
those rolls.
yeah,
It's
no.
always either awful or
Absolutely.
great. All right, next batch of shooting here. Looking for 4s for that IG shooting. A little below average there, but 1 more wound getting through on the night, and it does get.
He's got a 2.
No, he's got a 3 up.
It does get through, yeah. So without that 2-up armor save, relic on the night, that does chip down 1 more point of damage.
Nothing.
All right, nothing there.
Let's see. I've got 1, 2 bolter shots.
So while he's sorting out his shooting, let's jump back to the Kodiaz real quick. Is that just proof that cool guys don't look at explosions?
Nothing.
Just the missile fires past his head.
With that double ones, I think the missile may have just gone straight up into the atmosphere, never even came down, so there was no explosion.
There you
at
go.
all.
There you go.
All right, so we got some mortars coming here. 3 shots, hitting on 5s.
Mortars are probably one of my favorite guard unit in 8th edition.
They are awesomely efficient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's ridiculous.
Nothing.
Like, I'm not a guard player, but if I had to pick outside of the tank commander because battle cannons are, oh my god, crazy good, the mortar is just so efficient.
10
Yeah.
shots.
Yeah, 11 points per base. This is these shots right here. That's all coming out of a 33-point unit. And take aim rerolls coming in on the ones here. Decent amount of shooting here, and one more wound coming through on that 6.
We're good.
And it looks like Walsh is doubling down on the knight here. He's just going to put everything he's got into it, glance out as many wounds as he can, probably try and take it down in the in the combat phase.
Well, where he has his own knight, now he's got something to lose. If he doesn't kill the opposing knight this turn,
Yeah, he definitely doesn't want to get charged.
no.
Yeah.
That Reaper Chainsword will have his knight for breakfast.
One more coming through here. Glanced out. I believe the warden is down to 11.
11
I
shots.
think that's the count that we're at here.
Yep.
All right, last mortar unit. 11 shots. Couple of rerolls from the take aim. More ones into ones.
It's early, man. The dice are cold. They're not awake
right.
yet. No wounds.
All right, no wounds there. Still looking for 6s. Looks like that's going to be a majority of the shooting.
So Aaron's knight is Questor Mechanicus.
Yes.
So if he's Questor Mechanicus and he's supported by the same house, you can actually spend a command point to make him. It's like Revenge of the Machine Spirit, I think, and he fights at full profile.
That's correct.
So it's do or die.
Yeah, it needs to be all the way dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, that absolutely needs to be all the way dead. So we're seeing the combat coming in here.
On the same token, he can force it to explode.
True. Yeah.
So.
All right, so we see another stratum coming in here. So for an extra D3 attacks. So between Quicken and the stratagem, which he got back, the command point there, Mephiston is going to come in with 3 extra attacks. So he's hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, and then he's going to be wounding on 2s. Lots of 1s there. Hopefully he's going to get some rerolls here. Misses 1. All right, and 2s here.
Oh,
all right, so that's 6
so
wounds
good.
coming out of Mephiston with -3, and without that invul, this knight is going to be on 6 ups.
Nothing.
Outstanding.
All right. So this is 6d3 coming in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it takes the knight down to 1 wound. And it looks like Mike's going to use his command phase reroll, and it's a 1 into a 1
no.
once again. So the knight is going to live here with 1 wound, and he does not get that command point back.
Like,
We're
I
gonna
want to
have see if
feel
this
bad.
holds up over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to feel bad, but it makes it so much more interesting that the knight stays alive.
Yeah, that 1 wound. Now, interestingly, the stratagem that you mentioned where you get to fight at full profile,
Mhm.
you have to do that at the beginning of the turn.
Right.
So he's going to be safe with the knight probably hitting on either 5s or 6s here.
Mhm.
It's not terribly likely that he's going to do a ton of damage back. But either way, you'd rather just have
Right.
it be dead.
Well, I'm talking about turn 2.
Yeah, if it does live through the turn, Walsh more than likely is going to fight twice.
Yeah.
Unless for whatever reason he wants the knight to be alive. I just can't imagine that being the case. Although, with the way that Mike has placed those infantry models in between the 2 knights, there may not be a way for the warden to actually get into the Castellan without some damage in the shooting first,
Sure.
which means he'd be able to maintain a pretty long distance charge
Yeah.
that he's putting the warden into. We'll see how that plays out. He's definitely within 12 though, because he
Yep.
did fire those melta-guns.
Well, he got an 11-inch charge the first time. Apparently, that knight is just ready to go.
Just gangbusters, ready
Yeah.
to get in.
Exactly.
So I'm going to swing at your
All right.
captain.
So here comes the attack back.
Hitting on 5. Just with the sword. Yep.
All right, Reaper Chain Sword attacks coming in, hitting on 5s.
Oof.
Does not get any.
I haven't used a command reroll.
Deciding if he's gonna command point one of these.
I will use 1 more, so I should be down to.
Is it worth it?
No, you'll be down to 2.
It's a tough call. I mean, getting a
got
character kill here is important. He does get a hit, and he does get a wound.
Mhm.
I've used my reroll, so I just have a 3-up.
And there is the Storm Shield 3-up invul in there. So is definitely hoping to get a kill onto the Smash Captain here.
Yep.
Would not be surprised if Aaron has Headhunter. So that may have been a victory point right there.
Yep.
And now here comes the Smash Captain. 5 hits.
He gets red thirst, so he wounds on 3s.
Gonna be wounded on 3s here. 3 wounds get through.
3 minus 3. Yahtzee.
Some more -3s, so 6s again. If any one of these gets through, and they do, that was a good
It's
roll
close.
of those saves, but not
close.
enough with the -3 from the Thunderhammer, and no explosion coming out of the Knight. So priority 1 secured for Mike here, and as we were saying, that's going to make this a pretty uphill battle for Aaron through the rest of the game.
Oh yeah.
Got a little bit of a sweat there for Walsh. It's a good thing he doubled down with the second character.
Yep.
In reality, between drag down and fight twice, he likely would have been able to get the job done.
Yep.
But you know, at a certain point there, you're investing up to 8 command points in 1 round of combat, and he'd much rather pocket those, make sure he keeps Ravening out of the Knight here. So we've got Recon behind enemy line scored. He's got kill 1, hold 1. Alright, so it looks like we've got...
But didn't get kill more.
Yeah, they both trade one killing 1 unit, so neither player gets kill more. It looks like Walsh able to secure kill more. We're going to get a quick update on the exact score in secondaries.
So right into movement phase 2 for the AdMech.
So I took old school Recon behind enemy lines. He took old school Kingslayer on my Knight Castellan and Reaper. Do you have the score so far? Did you hear me?
So we got 1 Reaper points and
No.
1 hold 1, right? So 3 for Aaron.
No. So
Looks like he wants the scouts,
old school because he got first blood.
which I can't say is I blame him. The scouts are the center objective holder. If he kills the scouts,
One for Recon, one for behind enemy lines. So after turn 1, it's 6-3.
might be trying to charge him, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you.
The big man himself is on the move.
These guys are going to spread out. They don't have anything they can shoot. They're going to advance. 6.
Okay, we got a 6-inch in advance.
This way. So these guys can go 12.
All right, so Aaron looking like he's going to need to respond here by expanding his footprint a bit. He's going to have to fight over some objectives on corners, try and spread Walsh thin to keep himself in this game scoring points. And the robots pushing that center. He's really doesn't want to give Walsh that center objective for free, it looks like.
Right.
Going to be tough to contest, though. He's definitely being pushed out of that comfort zone that you described for the AdMech here.
Well, he's got a little bit of breathing room in the fact that Call gives a 9-inch bubble. So, it's a 9-inch bubble. He's got a full 9-inch reroll because of Static Shroud's Helm and his personal buffs. So it allows him, because if you'll notice he moved Call up, like we were saying earlier, the big guy's on the move. He's still going to be in range of all of his heavy shooting. But even still, hitting on 5s, even re-rolling across those, it's
Yeah, you end up
it's
with just over 50%, right?
Yep.
It's like 58.
Yep.
Fives with rerolls. And it looks like we're getting into a point here on the second turn where the players have kind of picked their table halves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Mike pushing up towards the top of the screen there with the guardsmen and with the scouts and with the rough riders. And then we'll see which angle they both pick to kind of try and sweep in on each other, rotating around the center of the table. So you get to the end of the first turn. You're in Aaron's shoes. You're down 3 points. Although a couple of those are from secondary, so you can potentially make those back up.
Yep.
But taking Kingslayer on the Castellan, which is one of the secondary choices that Aaron took.
Yeah.
If he wants to be in this game, he's probably going to need to get some damage down on the night.
So you've got the threat of the Dune Crawler threat is not as strong of a presence here. I think he really thought he was going to be able to get that knight into the opposing knight. Because alternatively, he hasn't put the infiltrators in a position where they're a threat to the knight. And the invuln save from shooting gives him safety from the onagers.
Yep.
So.
Alright, so it looks like we're into the psychic phase here. Meph's going to try and deny this first power, and he does. Didn't need the psychic hood +1 there. He just rolled a 9 on that deny.
It's interesting to see add mech with a psychic phase.
Yeah, skipping that phase all throughout ATC definitely made my games a little more efficient. Looks like the drill has come up onto the table here, though.
Yep.
With the footprint that the IG are projecting here, it looks like Aaron just decided, I'm not going to get outside of my deployment zone with this deep strike anyway. I might as well just pop up now and try and get as many turns of use out of my drill as I can. Alright, looks like Aaron trying to position for some smites here. Check in line of sight, though. Alright, so without an angle here, it looks like one of his psychers is not going to be able to get a smite, but that is an 11, so we're going to see a full D6 coming out of the smite unless Mike has an opportunity to deny, but it doesn't look like he's in range of that psyker near the top of the screen. Alright, 3 damage, 3 mortal wounds coming on to that infantry squad.
Yeah, you can really see Aaron kind of playing off the back foot here, because the knight's gone, his infiltrators are on one side of the board, his drill's on the other side of the board, and neither of them are a threat to speak of. So the heart of Mike's army kind of pushes forward here, and meanwhile Aaron is trying to kind of sweep up the side lanes and give himself some time to get to kind of the pulse of Mike's army.
Yeah, we're going to see here the Castellan robots are coming in on the guard unit in the center.
Into that scout squad that says AP -1, I believe.
The scout squad, actually, that pushed up the Blood Angel scouts that pushed up in that center.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like Mike gets his first save. But now we see the real Daka, so we'll see how much work he's able to get done here with these 12 shots.
Now keep in mind, these shots ignore cover.
Okay. Alright, so we're looking for 5s with those call rerolls, so he gets 3 out of the first batch. See how many more he can pick up off of the reroll.
6 hits.
Alright, gets 3 more there, so 6 hits out of the 12 shots is just barely below average. Can't be too disappointed with that.
On 5s, no less.
4, AP -2, ignores cover.
Alright, so these are -2, ignore cover, so he's going to be putting those scouts onto 6-ups.
Will they get a 6-up save? AP -2?
4 to 5 to 6, yeah.
Alright.
I think
Aaron
Mike
being
thought he
good-
was just have
being
to
a good
pull him.
guy. Alright,
Saves 1.
Saves 1.
I've actually had the pleasure of playing against Aaron, and he's everything you could ask for an opponent. To be fair, super polite, real nice guy. If you could have 5 games against one opponent, Aaron's probably in the list of top 5 people to ask for.
Plasma shots.
Yeah, well, we've definitely seen it here from both players. They're doing a great job of communicating. They're doing a great job of declaring their intent. And you know, we see it again here. Aaron declaring every single one of his guns before he shoots any of them. But we see the drill going into that infantry squad that was smited just a moment ago. So 2 damage and -3. That's some straight dead guardsmen. Looks like we've got 1 guy left from that guard squad, just the sergeant. We'll see if he's going to make it through this turn.
No. That's 6 hits. These will wound you on 4s because they're toughness 3, right?
All right, so we're looking for 4s here.
Strength 4, so 3.
No, it's only strength 3 gun.
Oh, okay.
All right, strength 3 coming to
So two
T3,
wounds,
looking for
two
4s.
wounds,
He's
right?
got 2 wounds. Ooh,
Gosh.
the one that got away. All right, so the last guardsman from that squad is dead. Another important kill point
There you go.
for Aaron there. He's can kind of breathe a sigh of relief through the
A
rest
little
of
bit.
this phase.
Yep.
Knowing that he's secured at least that important primary objective. Gonna see now what additional output he can get from the rest of his shooting.
It's a heavy weapon and it moves.
He's getting closer and closer to not just having hold more as a threat. The more time Mike has to kind of move the real threat of his army up, the much faster that kill more becomes a big threat real fast.
So we see 2 more wounds coming through here. These are into the scouts, it looks like.
Fail both.
Fails both. That's going to take out the last 2 squats, or scouts. Squats. Last 2 scouts that are in that center unit, which is good. You know, he's pulled an OBSEC off of the center there. We'll see if Mike has any other models within 3 inches of that center objective. That kill may have, or may at least get him to the point where Mike's going to have to move a lot of models forward again to try and get that hold more at the end of the turn.
And P.S. I am completely on board with squats coming back. So
You never know. With the release schedule that GW's be on, we may see a lot of unique things throughout 2019 at least.
I mean, we've got Plastic Sisters coming, and that is every fanboy's wildest dream come true.
Absolutely. There's going to be a lot of folks watching the stream that are probably pretty stoked on them coming back. They're probably going to be great. All right, so we got some more shooting. Looks like this is coming down onto the knight. So we got the neutron laser this turn.
So I'll rotate ion shields.
And we're going to see it rotate out of Mike. So he's going to spend those 3 command points. Gets 1 back, so gets it on a discount here, and he's going to be pushing the Castellan to a 3++.
So 3s to hit.
All right, so here come the shots. We got 3s to hit. I'm
Good
gonna
thing for
reroll
that reroll.
because of call, I believe. Yeah.
Mhm.
And gets them all. Good start.
Wounds on
See how many
3s.
wounds he can put through with some 3s here. And he's got 3 wounds, so good start to the shooting on the Castellan. But with the 3-up invul, and it looks like only 1 has a shot at getting through, and Mike is going to use a reroll here potentially.
Anti-air stuff that can shoot from there if I find anything within range, but I don't think anything will be in range of this or that.
Mike check in here before he uses this command point to see if what other shooting is available. And no save there. So 1 is going to get through, but he's able to get that command point back. So his free
That's the
roll.
5 damage.
5 damage coming through on the knight. That is going to tick off a Kingslayer point, an important. Every point is going to matter for Aaron in this game.
Absolutely.
He would love to degrade that knight to force Mike to spend 1 extra command point to have it fighting at full profile, but we'll see if he's able to get the job done with the remaining shooting he has here.
Would normally hit on 4s because it doesn't have fly. Get to reroll.
All right, so we're looking for 4s with rerolls here for the anti-air guns coming out of the honor
Normally
grid.
I'd use multicolored dice. I apologize, I'm doing this separately. Alright, so that's 4 hits from that. These are strength 6, so I need 3s to wound on this.
This one versus the knight?
Yep.
So you need 5s to win. Strength 6.
Oh, you're right. I'm
So
sorry,
2
I thought
wounds
that
coming
was
through
one.
there.
So 2 wounds.
Okay.
And this is AP -2, I believe.
I made both. He has a 3-up invul.
All right, so
Four
the knight's just
outstanding
going to be on his
shots.
invuln through this whole shooting phase. Mike makes both saves there.
One hit.
Second batch coming out of that Icarus
Wounding.
array. We'll see what he gets.
2 hits.
2 hits, 1 wound, and that's going to go through.
2.
So flat 2 damage. So 7 damage so far. Gone onto the Castellan. He's going to be at 21 currently. And here's the missile. Hits with the reroll and wounds.
Ooh.
And fail on the invuln there. So that's going to be a D6. That was the most important one for this
There's
batch,
another
and
4.
that's another 4. So we got 11 that's come through on the night, so that's going to put him at 20, or I'm sorry, 17.
Yep.
Starts at 28. Those big knights, man, they got a lot of wounds.
It's that relic doubles his wound profile. That's clearly what's happening here.
Right. All right, so no damage out of that shot. It looks like at 17, the Castellan's going to come out of this first turn, most likely at its top profile.
I think so.
So feeling pretty good about that. Walsh has to be. It's just 1 extra command point he doesn't have to spend. So with that being the end of Aaron's shooting, he's going to look here to see if he wants to mix it up with any charges.
You know, he spent the point at rotate, but I think it only bought him 1. I think it only bought him 1 save.
It got him one extra save on the neutron.
Right, which could have been huge.
Right. And then when we were on the Icarus, he actually got 2 extra saves. It was only on 1 damage shots.
Right.
But he did get a couple extra saves. So that translates into probably a good 6 or 7 damage that he was able to save there,
which would have been a
keep him in
bracket.
the top profile.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nothing like a knight with a storm shield.
Yep. All right, and without any charges here, it looks like Aaron's gonna say that is his turn. So he's able to once again secure kill 1, hold 1. He's able to secure an extra point on Kingslayer, and we'll see if he scores any additional points at the end of the turn. But it's a 3-point player turn right there for him.
Yep.
And the players are double checking Kingslayer here to make sure that they're tallying those points properly. We're going to come into Mike's second turn, and you have to imagine that Mike is going to be looking to really push forward on this turn.
I imagine so. Mike's in a great spot. So even with the secondary objectives, Aaron tied where Mike is on turn 1. So he's got full freedom of movement here. The only threat to the center is the robots, and he's spent more time moving them than shooting them.
Yeah.
Which is the exact opposite of where you want to be.
Right. And with the angle they're at, it's possible that Mike's going to be able to find a charge from a Smash Captain or from a Fiston to be able to get in on those robots. That may be his answer. He's also got the Castellan as an option. You have to imagine he's going to want to take out that neutron gun, though.
Yeah. So I send Mephiston downfield. I send the Smash Captains at the robots because the robots are double flamers. So you don't even want to. There's not even a reason to risk Mephiston in that situation. And
yeah, that's a fair point. He does have the Angel's Wings Captain, so he can get that first charge, disallowing the Overwatch. We'll see if he uses that to screen for a second character. He's definitely got some options coming in on these on the Castellan robots there in the center. But you have to imagine that's going to be one of the few priority targets that are still left on the table for him, so that he can just guarantee he's got center and he can hold the top left corner, his deployment zone, and the center objective with the character. Make sure he starts scoring that bonus.
Gotcha.
So Mike planning on his turn here, noting that he needs to kill 2 units this turn. Make sure he gets kill more. Definitely looking to start maximizing every victory point every turn from this point forward.
Well, and that's what's going to put him back in top bracket.
Yep.
So I was looking at his where he had all of his models, and he's got the golden goat from the first game, from the first brawl.
Yeah, he made a point. That was the last thing he grabbed off the shelf before we left for the tournament was the goat. All right, so Mike checking some range on his mortars here. Just making sure that he's got all of his movement exactly how it needs to be.
Also, just as a moment of truth, I completely forgot about the deny Overwatch on the relic.
Yeah,
So
that is a nasty relic on that Smash Captain.
yeah,
Um,
I don't play Blood Angels, man. Come on.
well, if you like a lot of the folks here have been playing at some tournaments recently, you're gonna play against them this edition because it is arguably the best assassin in the game right now.
Yeah.
Um, and it's gonna be a tough to knock that model off of the top of the mountain when it comes to point efficient melee assassins. Even the solitaire, I think, is going to have a hard time competing with the output that those Smash Captains have, especially with the stratagem that gives them the extra D3 attacks and the
It's
fact that they can fire when they die. You know, you
Yep.
just get so much mileage out of them, even if they end up trading.
So even on a blitz, the best weapon on a solitaire doesn't have the damage output.
Yeah.
Even he can still fight twice. They've got the same save. The Smash Captain is tough 1 higher because he's power armor toughness as
Yeah.
opposed to tough 3. The only thing that even as the solitaire you mentioned has is movement.
Yep.
So
And even then, with upon wings of fire and the 3d6 charge when they drop down,
Mhm.
it's hard to.
Well-
It just really is an all-round model. But we see
Right.
Mike here checking ranges in Aaron's deployment zone, seeing if he can find a pocket, probably for some of those additional Rough Rider units that he started off of the table. With Mike taking behind enemy lines, you know, he may be looking to just ensure that he's going to score that every turn.
because even if they die, I mean, it's,
Yeah, I mean that's the beauty of that unit, right?
Yep.
It's 50 points. You know, it's if it gets you a victory point and absorbs some shooting, that's perfectly reasonable.
Yep.
If you end up somehow getting some offensive output out of it, then you're just in the best case scenario.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's also something that Aaron has to deal with.
Yeah.
Because he can't afford to give up behind enemy lines for free 2 turns in a row. So it's got to go away. So something's got to fall back,
Yeah,
or
it's-
something's got to not shoot.
It's going to be really tough for him to deny that this game. Behind enemy lines, as far as it's written with the ITC missions, it's that long board edge, and with the deployment type they had, you
Yep.
know that's why we saw Mike push so quickly
Yep.
for that corner. It's not only is it getting him an objective, it's also going to be getting him a recon table quarter and a behind enemy lines,
Mhm.
all from that building. So it's gonna be tough for Aaron to push him off of that, but we'll see if that drill is able to get some good work on that side of the table.
His
All
is
right,
the
so we see
drill that
Captain
pierces
moving
the
up here
heavens.
pretty aggressively. Looks like he is trying to mix it up with some Inquisitors potentially. We've got some advances here. Mike repositioning around that center objective, and I believe that's Mephiston that is pressuring the robots there, and he's got the wings captain back where it had fought the knight on the previous turn. He's likely going to be moving that one up as well. We'll see exactly how he decides to play this shooting phase though. Mike here checking on whether or not the robots can fall back and shoot. His plan may be to just try and wrap them here. We'll see.
Yeah. To answer that question, they cannot.
They cannot. No stratagem. Yeah. It looks like that was Aaron's conclusion too. He's flipping through the book, seeing if there's anything he can find. But I believe that is the case.
Nope.
And once again, we're seeing within that area that Mike is outlining, we're seeing him spread some characters, spread some mortars, make sure he's filling in all the gaps.
Yep.
And it will be interesting to see how hard he comes in on these robots here. Measuring 9 off from them, looking for a Rough Rider pocket it may be.
He's going to charge call. It's going to happen.
It's a surprising amount of output the
Yeah.
Rough Riders have if they do get into combat.
Well, call's not a slouch.
Yeah.
Don't get it twisted.
Oh no, I don't think he's looking for that fight with some Rough Riders, but the infantry squad on the right side of the screen there may be a good target for him. Or he might just be looking for a few extra wounds in on those robots.
Yeah.
We'll see. It is a 9-inch charge though, bit of a gambit. It's usually like a plan C.
Yeah.
But there, yeah, we do see the Angelus Wings captain moving up like we expected on the robots. We'll like to see the charge come out of there first, block that Overwatch, and then Mephiston come in to help him clean up.
Yep.
Some guardsmen continuing to pressure forward. It looks like Mike may be trying to position so that he can take the bottom right corner objective on the next turn.
Yeah.
We'll likely see a move out of that squad.
There's no answer for AdMech for this kind of movement. With the angles and the line of sight blocking terrain, it's
Yeah, the knight really was the kind of one piece in his army that could mitigate the advantage that Mike had out of hiding in this terrain and pressuring. Because without the knight on the table, there's not really a combat threat.
Nope.
And that is a really important piece to being able to fight this IG blob.
So even with the infiltrators down on the bottom right, he's going to try to contest with them on the top of his turn.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to shooting, because if they get into combat, he's still being wounded on 3s.
Yeah.
Because despite the fact that they're tough, or their strength, I think 4, maybe 5 with the weapon, the goad, the lance is strength +2. I believe the regular goad is just strength +1.
Yeah.
So they're strength 5, but they're only tough 3. So
yeah, so if they get in combat with the Rough Riders, they're going to be getting wounded
on 3s.
on 3's back.
Yep.
And it does look like that's Mike's plan. He's going to try and pressure those infiltrators with the unit of Rough Riders. Even if the Rough Riders don't get there, it's set up as a distraction so that the guard squad can get in there on the next turn. So it looks like we're into the psychic phase here. Mephiston casting Wings, going to get an extra 12-inch movement here. And maybe looking to pressure.
Oh, he's going after
Here we
call.
All right, well, we might have some pretty exciting combats in this turn before we're done. We've got a Smash Captain pressuring the Inquisitors. We've got Mephiston pressuring Call, and we've got the Angelus Wings Captain pressuring some 1950 space robots.
If you had to pick a model on the board for Mike to go after Call, it would be Mephiston.
Yeah, I think it makes the most
100%.
sense.
100%.
He's going to be winning them on 2s. He can quicken himself, get the extra attacks. He can use the stratagem to give himself extra attacks. Although it does look like Quicken failed there. Here we see Psychic Barrier going down on the guard squad that's pushing around the Bastion at the bottom of the table closest to Mike.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, go ahead. Do it.
And it looks like Mike here looking to blob a couple of his guard squads.
Yeah, absolutely.
So he's taken one of those squads that was weakened down to a very small number of models, just adding them to that 10-man there.
Have to be more than or equal to.
It's a very orky tactic.
Yeah, it is crazy how quickly that blob can get out of hand if you're not mitigating the guardsmen as they push up.
But you don't want to send it too far, because then, well, you probably don't take Reaper against guard anyway, because the mortars put him at 9.
Yeah, it's tough. You're in a situation when you come up against this list in particular. It's got 3 10-man squads.
Yep.
So you're thinking to yourself, okay, maybe I can, maybe not max Reaper, but I can get some Reaper points.
Right.
And then we're looking at, we're looking at the 9-man squads. You're not going to score it there.
Yep.
But then if you don't get the first turn and they blob, then all of a sudden you're in a situation where, okay, how many Reaper points am I actually going to get?
Yep.
I think it was Mike Brandt was on a podcast recently after the London GT, and he played a game. It was either against Poxwalker Spam or against Orcs, and he said by the end of the game, because he just kept replenishing 10 models into the blob, at the end of the game his opponent never killed it. And so none of those guardsmen, 50 or so which died, ever actually translated into a kill point.
Oh.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the Tidal Traders Cultists. It's just, you have to kill it to the man, and if you don't, it is backbreaking.
That's how it was. Not to show my old man here, but that's how it was back in 6th and 7th with Necrons.
Yep. Yeah, the reanimation protocols. They can do it this edition. with
It's a
those,
little bit
20
different
mana
at the
bricks,
top of the
but,
turn, though.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and then but between the ghost arcs, the res orbs, you start stacking it. Maybe we'll get to see some neck runs on camera this weekend. It can get out of hand pretty quick. All right, but we are moving into the shooting phase here, and it looks like we've got some first rank, second rank coming down on these robots. So we're gonna see a whole heck of a lot of dice.
Yep.
All right, so that's 9 of the guardsmen. So Mike here going to be keeping 4s and up, so he's pulling all the 1s, 2s, and 3s. We'll see if he just rolls those to completion or if he rolls the rest of the hit.
11 guys, 12 guys, 13 guys.
All right, here's the rest of the shooting. Much better hitting on that batch.
Yes.
Probably evens out between the two.
But he's wounding on, I think,
Could be
6s.
wounding on strength 3 versus T5 or T6?
T6.
T6?
5,
Yeah,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
No.
2 up armor
2, 4,
save.
6.
So he's got 10 2-ups here. It looks like, I'll check the toughness here. They had talked it out before we got into the shooting there, but so T7,
So, yeah, that should.
Shooting phase.
he may have used,
Take those 3 'cause I'll save my command reroll.
can't remember the name of the stratagem where when guards shoot at the same thing. You get bonuses.
Overlapping fields of fire?
Potentially. I'm not sure. We'll see on that one in a bit, but 2-up armor saves going to keep the robots there in the center pretty healthy regardless. All right, Strachan shooting his pistol. Gets some damage down.
I think it's -1.
The plasma pistol there should be -1.
He's good. He got
This is into the Storm Shield Inquisitor, so looks like he makes that save without any trouble.
So this mortar team's closest to him.
Okay.
So I'm gonna fire the 3 mortars.
So we're going to see some mortars coming in now.
So that's 11 shots. 3, 6.
And it looks like that Storm Shield Inquisitor pushed up pretty far. He's actually the closest model to these mortars. So he's going to take
threes.
all of it on the chin here. We'll see how he does. Wounded on 3s.
Yeah, 2.
Ooh.
Doesn't-
Rough batch of wounds there. But
AP. He's good.
we'll
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
He
looks
took
like
it on the chin pretty good.
Yeah. Well, when you only get 2 wounds out of that, and he is on a 2-up armor save, so
Yep.
he's going to be in pretty good shape. Just seeing if he can blink through a little bit extra damage.
I'm gonna fire. And they have a 4-up save.
The Inquisitors here showing they have 0 fear of firepower.
Yeah.
Cody has dodging missiles. This guy over here dodging mortar fire.
Yeah, I don't
They're
think-
just
A single wound has been done to a Inquisitor yet in shooting, and there has been at least a little bit. So we see some more shooting here on the other side of the table.
3 wounds.
Looks like 3 wounds coming down onto the unit that is near the drill on the far side.
Fail 1.
All right, 1 fail there.
Fire, the single mortar there.
Damage comes down. All right, so now we're gonna have mortars coming out of the individual mortars coming out of the infantry squads. 1 wound coming down.
Another one died.
Fails the save.
And the 3 other back mortars from the heavy weapons team.
All right, and 3 more mortar teams coming down. That's a good batch of shooting. 16 shots coming out of that mortar squad. We'll see if he can get a little more work out of the wounds this time.
Vanguard.
16. Roll 1s.
All right, and the take aim there, getting Walsh the reroll ones, picks up a couple of extra hits, but once again,
Nope.
only 2 wounds coming through.
That's a pretty bad roll.
I can do this.
From 16.
A rallying cry coming out of Aaron saying, I can do this with only 2 saves, but that's 2 that get through. Well, when low rolls happen on both sides,
yeah,
you
exactly.
get close to your average on the damage output here.
I'm telling you, the dice are still sleepy. Clearly, that's the problem here.
We should have had Blake blow some kisses on him before he went over to the other venue. I mean, they're
Possibly.
red bar dice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see if we can get him to do it for day 2.
But this is their first showing, so maybe they're just nervous.
That's fair, yeah. A little jitters on camera the first time. All right, we see a couple more pot shots coming out of Mike here.
Fails.
It looks like that may have been Mephiston's plasma pistol. So we're going to see a little bit more shooting coming out of Walsh here. It's looking like, though, he's set to get most of his damage output. Oh, no, I'm sorry. We still have a Castellan to shoot.
Yep.
Roll to see if I get him back.
So Raven Strat coming in. Going to get those 1 rerolls. No command points earned back there, though. So it looks like Walsh down to 6 command points, I believe. He's deciding his target priority here, figuring out where he wants to put shooting at the Inquisitors. He may opt to shoot that missile into Greyfax.
I don't need to use this stratagem. I'm just going to Oathbreaker missile here. Siege Breaker missile here.
All right, looks like he opts out. He's just going to put the missile without having to use the stratagem because that Terminator Inquisitor is the closest model. He's just going to put the missile there, negating that invuln save. Going to put him to a 6-up. We'll see if he can actually get the hit and the wound, though, this time.
My bid's on the Inquisitor. Hasn't happened yet. I don't see it coming in now.
Just going to stonewall Jackson.
This is what happens when you play Catachans without Sly Marbo.
Right. All right, so we're seeing some division here coming in from the Siege Breaker Cannons. Wants to finish off that infantry squad that was near the drill. Volcano Lance coming at the Onager. Call's Wrath coming at the Onager. Oh no, Call's Wrath coming at the Infiltrator squad. So it looks like Mike doubling down just on taking the board this turn.
Yeah.
A little less focused on killing all the threats on the other side of the table. Probably feeling pretty good about rotating his ion shields to make sure that the Castellan stays alive on this next turn.
I mean, what kills the Castellan even, though, at this point?
The Neutron's really the only major threat. You can chip in some damage, especially if you get that missile hit out of the Icarus array like Aaron did on the last turn. But he gets the Inquisitor with the missile this time. So
my heart is breaking.
Definitely a good start for Mike there, though. It's always good when the Castellan kills the first thing that you shoot at. Makes you feel a lot more confident for the rest of them. All right, and so hey, he rerolled a 1 and got a wound that time. All right, so we're seeing the dice are coming alive. All right, so here are some 5-up saves. Gets 1. 3d3 damage coming through, so he gets 4 damage.
And the missile, or the cannon at him. So that's 3, 4,
All right,
5
so
shots.
here is the Siegebreaker cannon. 5 shots coming in, 4 hits. And it looks like rerolling that 1's going to give him 2 wounds.
-1.
2 wounds -1, so alright, so this will be a 4-up.
Alright, so there's a 4-up save coming in. It's going to be D3 damage for any that get through.
We're good.
And we got boxcars, double barn.
Yes.
Double barn showing up there, so no damage so far.
There's another one.
12 shots out of Call's Wrath, though. It's going to be a rough turn for this Infiltrator squad. Alright, some misses, though. There might be hope. We'll see. We got 2s to wound here, rerolling 1s. And that's some very, very dead Infiltrators.
They do. 6-up info.
Oh, they have a 6-up invul, no?
Yes,
Bionics.
they do.
So we'll see.
Double Yahtzee.
Gonna need some 6s here. He gets 1, but that is not gonna cut it. Flat 3 damage on Call's Wrath here. He's gonna be picking up that squad. So that's Inquisitor down, Infiltrator squad down. And we've got, I believe that infantry unit on the far side may have 1 model left. We'll see when we come back to the shot near the drill. But that would be 3 so far. So he's already gotten his 2 though that he needed for Killmore.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see how hard Mike pushes the issue for those kill points, or if he wants to slow the game down and kind of bleed it out over the next few turns.
Yeah, because if you there's a fine line in ATC between just mowing through the field and getting to a place where you can get as many points as possible.
Yeah, this is one of those formats, right, where you don't just automatically max if you table your opponent, right? You need to make sure you can kill 1 every turn. You need to make sure you can kill more every chance you get. So it'll be interesting to see here how Mike chooses his target priority through the rest of the game. But we've got a big charge here coming out of the captain. He declared a multi-charge.
Okay.
And included call in the multi-charge.
Interesting.
And with an 11 on the charge there, it looks like he's chosen to just jump straight past the robots and go into
Call such a superior target.
Yeah, without
getting-
the rerolls and
yeah,
the movement that's being
exactly.
forced on the robots, it makes a lot
Exactly.
of sense to take away that force multiplier. All right, a little bit of Overwatch coming out of an Inquisitor here, I believe.
2 hits. 4s. 1 wound. Okay.
Or this might actually be coming out of the Dune Crawler, yeah. All right, so yeah, here we see one of the Smash Captains coming into the Crawler. Nothing out of the Stubbers. And then we got the Neutron.
We'll get 2 shots.
A couple of shots here. You're just looking for some 6s. Doesn't get him.
So he takes 1 wound, so he's down to 4. He's a captain. So his charge roll.
All right, charge here coming out of the Captain. Gets 7. I believe that's going to be enough. Walsh is going to double check here.
It will be enough to bring him over here.
Yeah, so he's going to jump in between the Inquisitor and the Dune Crawler here. It's likely Walsh is looking to kill the Inquisitor and then consolidate into that Dune Crawler so that it won't be able to shoot on the next turn.
Call has 9 wounds or 6?
That may be the plan too with the robots. Kill Call, consolidate back.
Yeah.
And if this turn ends with the Dune Crawler being tied up, the robots being tied up, Call and the Inquisitor down,
Yeah.
it's pretty much going to lock it up.
Yep.
So we'll see.
It just comes back to the core problems we talked about earlier. AdMech don't have the bodies to keep up with a list like this. If the deployments had been a little bit different, and he wouldn't have had to spend 2 turns moving the Castellans before they could even shoot at anything,
Right.
it might have been a little bit different. But he gave up 18 shots in
Yeah.
the first turn.
Yeah, being funneled into the table quarter with that deployment,
Yep.
Probably not where Aaron wanted to be. He'd much rather have, a Dawn of War or even a Hammer and Anvil for that matter, where he can
Right.
at least just create some angles around that center terrain. But here we see the first batch of combat coming down here. That look like 3 wounds coming down. Looks like we are picking up some extra Overwatch here. The Angel's Wings captain jumped past the Castle robots, even though he declared them as a charge target.
Mhm.
So Meph is also declaring a multi-charge. The robots are still freed up to Overwatch.
Yep.
And it looks like he is in on whichever combat he chooses. He's just going to move up on Call. So yeah, doubling down on Call, probably the right move here. Just guarantee what you can get. He doubles
No, he
back.
splits.
So he's feeling pretty confident about that Smash Captain. Really wants to get the robots down here. Looks like Strachan's declaring a charge. Gets a 10 on it. Is that enough? Looks like he's going to be just inside of 11 inches, so he does get that 10-inch charge. So with Strachan and Mephiston in on the robots, pretty good chance here to get the job done.
Yep.
So
Well, even if they don't, the robots don't really have a melee presence to speak of without
they don't have
without
the
the fists.
Yeah.
Exactly.
All right, so we're getting into combat here.
what's Call's normal save?
Looks like we're going to have the Smash Captain swinging on Call before we have any other combat.
You don't want to give Call an opportunity.
Yeah, he can hit back.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Alright,
mech
so
and
five
drive
attacks.
hive, the axe.
4 hits, and we're looking for 2s here.
Did I use my
He's
reroll?
got 3 wounds. Doesn't look like he's used his reroll in the fight phase yet. He's going to go ahead and use it here. And that's 4 wounds coming through.
That's cocked.
Cocked eye.
I don't.
Does not get the command point back. Looks like
Small.
Walsh down to
5.
5 here.
Yep.
Minus 3, so 4, 5.
Invuln save
Yep,
time.
so we got 4 or 5 ups here coming in for Call.
Makes 1.
Gets 1, fails 3. That's going to be 9 damage. And that is Call's head right there. So a swift kill
Yeah.
on Call out of the Smash Captain there. That is what they do best.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it came down to the wound reroll because he killed him by 1.
Yep, you're right. Yeah, the first, he definitely needed all 4 there. Was able to get it through. And once again, he's able to get the kill done without having to fight twice, which is good because he is starting to get tight on command points here.
No, they're pretty terrible in hand-to-hand, but Cody hasn't too bad. No, I'm not
Alright.
gonna interrupt. I'll save my command points for something else.
Aaron choosing not to interrupt here. as you said, and he agrees, it sounds like not gonna get a whole lot of work out of the robots in combat.
3 extra attacks.
Nice.
All right, Meph getting D3 extra attacks here. He gets the full 3,
I do, so he stays at the same.
and he gets the command point back, so he's getting that for free.
Rerolls ones.
Here we go. Meph hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s.
All hit. 2s.
All hit,
5.
5.
and he's got 5 wounds.
All right.
3 damage each.
Minus 3 here. Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like this is actually the Smash Captain on the other side.
I failed 2, so that'd be
So fails 2, so flat 6 damage coming through. That's going to get the Inquisitor.
And he'll pile in.
And we're going to get, as we suspected, a consolidate move into that Dune
We'll do
Crawler.
Mephiston next. So he's got 4 attacks.
Alright, so now we got Mephiston into the robots. He's
All
got
hit.
4 base attacks, all hit.
2s.
Gonna be wounded on 2s here. 3 so far, and gets the 4th.
wounds.
Okay.
Minus 3.
4 wounds minus 3. All right, so these will be 6 up saves. Yep.
Alright, so we got some 6-ups coming in.
Fail 3.
Makes
So
1,
3d3.
so 3d3 damage coming through.
So that one's got 3, so yeah.
So I'll do them separate. So the first one does 3.
3, so he will
Alright,
die.
well that
And then
is
get 2
3
more.
wounds on that
Okay.
first D3. That was big. He's not going to lose
5.
any wounds out of this damage. And it looks like we've got 1 wound left on the last robot. We'll see if Strachan can get the job done.
Okay.
Move 3. Strachan
Alright,
gets
so
himself
Strachan
plus
piles
1
in
attack.
here. Gonna make sure, Mike double checking to make sure he gets the right amount of attacks out of Strachan. And we'll
We've
see
got
if
4 base,
we
5
have a
attacks.
clean sweep
He
across
hits
these
on
combats.
2s. No rerolls.
Alright, 5 attacks hitting on 2s, no rerolls.
And
There's
then
3
he
1s, so only
wounds.
2
He's
hits.
Strength. Where's his strength? He's strength user, so he's strength 6.
Okay.
So UT7.
Yep.
So 5s. Nothing.
Alright, no damage coming out of Strachan there, so that robot is gonna live with 1 wound, it looks like.
All right.
And then, of course, we've got the option to fight again, so we're gonna see the crack back here.
3 attacks.
Aaron
4s.
going in with the robot.
Hits.
2 hits,
Strength 6. Wounding on 3s. 2 wounds.
wounded on 3s here, and gets 2 wounds down.
Made him.
Okay.
And
then,
making the
rest.
saves there.
Sure. You know, I'm not sure I've ever been in close.
Yeah, without the fists themselves, they can't keep up.
There's no AP, right?
No.
Yeah, so
Just-
they're just punching.
Yeah.
It's strength 6, so if you're fighting against some demons with a T3 or something like that,
Wow,
it's not
3
terrible.
hits.
But
Beast.
3 hits coming out of the Dune Crawler here.
3s, I think.
And that looks like 2 wounds.
Yep.
They're gonna be dash, but surprising hitting on 4s or 5s there in combat.
5s. Yep.
Yeah.
Fight again. That guy. Yep.
All right. So Walsh gonna choose to fight twice here with the Smash Captain that is on that Dune Crawler. This is the Neutron Dune Crawler, so we talked about how that was kind of the last priority target on the table for Mike.
Mhm.
So he keeps his Red Rampage stratagem for the additional attacks, gets to reroll those 1s, but doesn't get any additional hits since he's got that Thunderhammer. He's hitting on 3s. 4 wounds coming through on the Dune Crawler here. With AP minus 3, he's going to be on his 6-up.
Invo save.
Oh, he's got the 5-up invuln. Is that apply to combat on the onagers?
It
I
should.
believe it does.
And then on top of that, he's re-rolling 1s because he's within 3 of another.
Invo saves, rerolling 1s.
Yep, 5-up rerolling 1s. Here we go.
Not a single one.
3,
9 damage. So I'm gonna
he makes 1 save. 3
Yep.
get through 9 damage there, but no 1s, so no rerolls.
Okay. No, I'm gonna use a stratagem to make my vehicle blow up. But
All
I'll
right.
blows up.
So I'll roll to see if I get one for you using it.
Okay.
All right, so it looks like Aaron is going to blow up his vehicle on purpose here on a 4-up.
There it is. As you
Alright,
do.
So 2 wounds on his own onager.
What, 6 inches to blow up? Yeah. Okay. So I think those dudes are out. Just let me know how many.
So he's trying to chip through some damage
Yep.
on these Smash Captains, hoping that he'll be able to take it down in the shooting phase here. 2 damage onto the Smash Captain.
So I go.
It's the best you can hope for in that circumstance.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some range back there. You know, it's at least a decent volume of shots. They're going to be winning on 4s. Might be able to chip some through.
Yep.
He's got the Storm Shield, so
Right.
AP is not a terribly big concern. But between the Icarus and the Rangers, he might be able to get the job done.
I'm still Mars, so I still get to roll 2 dice. I don't get to make any
So the Rangers are, and in this case, I almost would prefer them be Vanguard,
look up in a second.
because at least then the Radium Carbines on 6s are doing 2 wounds apiece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because you're on a
Actually,
3-up
no.
invuln save anyway.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, whereas the
Rangers are
they
minus
get
1
an
AP,
extra, yeah,
which
exactly.
is moot.
So I believe Call was the Warlord, so
Mm-hmm.
Mike gonna pick up an extra secondary point there. He's gonna score recon. He's gonna score behind enemy lines. He's gonna score kill one, hold one. He's gonna score kill more, hold more. And let's see, he's got checking to see if he has the bonus. It doesn't look like he had the bonus there. So 4 points on the primary for Mike that turn. It looks like we are going to end up 9 plus 6. It looks like 15 to 7 at the end of that turn. Advantage Walsh.
This way. All right. This dude. Breakbacks is going to go.
All right, so we're getting into the third turn here, going into top 3. Aaron's going to take his movement phase. He's still got the drill on the table. Maybe able to try and get some good work out of it here. Looks like he's considering putting the drill into the Smash Captain. Maybe a good idea considering he can get some mortal wounds. He's also skirted his Dune Crawler back, trying to create a little bit more space. Maybe make the charges a little bit more difficult here.
I feel like at this point, Aaron is trying to collect points where he can. So he needs to focus on killing and holding as long as he can do that.
Kill one, hold one every turn.
Yep. Because at this point, it's less of a can I win and more of a how much can I stem the bleeding.
Yeah. And in a tournament like this, where you cut into the brackets, every point does matter, even if you take the loss. And so we're going to see Aaron here fighting for every inch.
Yep.
And we're going to get a smite out of Inquisitor here goes off on a 5, his first smite for the turn. And
ties him.
on a 5, was that out of Mephiston? It was not. So that was out of the Primera Striker. Mike going to spend a command point, and he gets it back for the reroll there. That allows him to deny that smite. Important to block those mortal wounds on the Smash Captain there. It's going to absorb potentially a lot of shooting this turn.
Aaron needed a much bigger smite than that. The dice were not kind there. He needed a much higher roll.
Passes,
yeah,
but you definitely want to be able to guard against the deny with something higher than that. All right, shooting phase coming in. Looks like as we're expecting, he's going to put the Rangers into the Smash Captain first 5 coming in. They are in rapid fire range, so we're going to see 10 shots coming in. And we'll see if that Storm Shield Captain can weather the storm here. Looks like Aaron's definitely hoping that this Captain is going to be his kill one this turn. All hit there, so looking pretty good so far. That Tech Priest Dominus giving him the reroll 1s on the back. All right. Decent number of wounds here. Yeah, he gets him with that first batch of shooting. So good work out of the Rangers there. He's got his kill one, and he's still got an objective in his deployment zone. So he's secured that base level of primary that we were talking about.
Yep.
And now it looks like he's going to get to take some pot shots at an additional character here. I believe that's the Angel's Wing Captain. So another Storm Shield character here. 3 hits. Gets 1 wound. That's the squad that time out of rapid fire range. That one's cocked. We've got a save there. Yeah, so he is safe. We'll see what Aaron decides to do with the Onager.
So if he's got the macro stubber, I say the macro stubber goes into the Wings Captain. And then, honestly, because it's got fly, he could put the entire thing into him.
Yeah, he's going to get that +1 to hit. Could leave him in a good space. He did move, but he would still be on 3s.
About that.
Yeah. Oh, right, because they have the treads. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. All right, a little bit of shooting going into the Rough Riders, it looked like. 1 wound down. All right. So here we go. Hitting on 2s here against the captain.
Strength 6, wounding on 3s.
5 hits. Winning on 3s, gets 3 wounds out of it. Got 3 saves coming in for the captain. Looks like he fails 1. And he's going to take that 1 damage. He'll probably be saving a reroll in case either the missile or the autocannon get through with the higher damage profile. Rerolling the 1, he gets 3 hits there, or 4 hits rather. And only 2 wounds though.
Saves them both.
And makes both saves off of the storm shield. So far so good. Hits and fails to wound with the missile.
That's the one you want too.
Yeah, considering using a reroll. Yeah, so he's going to go down to 4 command points, get this reroll. And does not get there on that reroll. Alright, so the second Smash Captain proving significantly more durable than the first Smash Captain. We've got the drill here on the far side of the table, though, looking to pressure the side objective and fight over that behind enemy lines, like you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
8 shots hitting on 4s, 2, 4, 6.
Now, TJ, it doesn't look like there's much for Mike on that side of the table to contest the drill in combat. He's probably going to have to look to kill it with the Castellan if he wants to keep pressure off of that flank.
He's got the bodies. I don't even know that he needs to worry about it, to be honest.
I think he just bogs it down for long enough.
You bog it down with firepower. You make it to where if he does charge into something, you've just got another line right behind it. And it's not going to, even if it kills both units, we're on turn 3.
Yeah, we're on the top of 3.
So you're going to get it to 5, and by then it's not going to matter anymore. He'll have maxed out.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, he's gonna swing at.
All right, so with that infantry unit outside of charge range for the drill anyway, and all of the shooting done, Mike goes ahead and just takes that morale check. He loses a guy on that 6.
So Meth's 4 attacks.
All right, so we're back into the combat with the robot. The robot fought first. It looks like it does not get damaged through. We see Mephiston here trying to finish the job, and it looks like he does.
He's only got 1 left. I'm gonna use my stratagem. Yeah, that's why I thought I only had 3 before because I used the 1 stratagem. Yeah, so I should only have 2 left now. Yeah.
All right, so looks like Aaron here going to implement a stratagem with
He's
the robot.
forcing it to self-destruct.
Mike picks one up off of that.
So I only get those 2 guys.
He's forcing it to self-destruct. He's going
Looks
to
like
blow
it.
it up.
All right, so 2 damage. And Mephiston takes 3. He'll get his Feel No Pains here. Looks like Mephiston makes 2 of his Feel No Pains, takes 1 damage. But some mortal wounds. You got to get every inch you can on those characters.
It's one of my favorite things about the Castellans. No, it's still standing there.
Nope.
He hasn't pulled it yet, so I don't know that he killed him.
You have killed my big guns.
They may just be talking through other points. Yeah, he's taking his consolidation moves. Yeah, we're into Mike's turn, and there goes
Yep,
the
there
robot.
it goes.
Yep.
Okay. That is one of the things that's unique about the Castellans. It's one of the few that is not what you would think of when you think of a vehicle that
Right.
still has the explosion.
Yeah, it definitely does not look like a model that would be exploding when you consider it in context with the rest of the game. But
Yep.
we're seeing here, further push into that back table quarter. Mike here likely looking to take that corner objective that started in Aaron's deployment zone. So we get a captain moving up, Mephiston getting within range where he'll be able to wings and get into whatever combat he needs.
Mike's got to be careful here. If he wants the game to go the full 5, he's going to have to dedicate literally just to killing one thing. So he's got a tech priest, he's got the drill, the infiltrators. The infiltrators are dead. So he's got the Dune Crawler, the tech priest, the troop, the rangers in the back, and the drill. So if he goes,
and there's 2 units of rangers, so 1 extra one on there.
Okay.
Yeah, we're likely going to see him start bleeding it out here, but definitely putting a lot of pressure down. He's guaranteeing that he's going to get those points.
Yep.
Although there is something to be said, leaving too much, and you might get a couple of characters chipped down when you're not expecting it. We've seen some mortal wounds come through on those explosion, on the explosion stratagem a couple of times. He definitely wants to secure the kill more, probably at least 1 more turn, before he's got the Aaron at the point where he just doesn't have the damage output to get a kill point anymore.
So the other thing to stop and consider is giving points to the opponent doesn't necessarily affect your score in ATC.
Hmm.
So even if he slow bleeds this, he's maximizing his points, and he's already got a tremendous lead over Aaron.
Yeah.
So even if Aaron were to max out for the next 2 turns, he's not going to catch up.
Yeah.
Mike's still going to square the W.
Yeah.
It's going to put him in a top bracket because he's bled out the points. So even if Aaron goes on to have a win in the next turn or in the next game, he's gonna bracket out.
Yeah.
Maybe bracket 2.
He may, yeah. It's going to depend on how that second round goes. We'll definitely be giving y'all updates on where these players place into their brackets later in the tournament. We will have the first round of the brackets before the end of the day here today. But we see Mike pushing up with his Castellan and his IG is expanding that footprint. And now we've got some more Rough Riders coming on, backing up that first unit that came. And by pressuring out of that table corner with an infantry squad replacing the Rough Riders, he'll be able to push a couple of extra units into that back line while still holding each objective in the corners. So we're at the top of the shooting, and we've got orders coming in here. It looks like Mephiston was able to successfully get wings off in that psychic phase, so he has moved forward and is pressuring that back line. And we've got move coming in on some infantry squads, just making sure he's creating those overlapping layers, making sure even if the first wave falls down, no matter how unlikely it is, he'll have that redundant threat to push into the back and take that objective.
This is a really great practice by people that you see at a higher level of play. I mean, it's fairly clear the writing's kind of on the wall here, but the practice of worst case scenario prevention continues.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, he's always leaving that redundancy, making sure there's a couple of extra layers, making sure he's doing the work he needs to do to where even if things go horribly awry, he's still going to execute on his game plan.
If for whatever reason, like orbital bombardment wipes out half of his stuff in one time, stuff that's never going to happen, but in games at lower levels of play, you see people, they see where their opponent's at in this situation, they start to kind of pull back a little bit, But here in this case, you've got 2 great players having a good time, being very clear with one another. Just ideal play, really.
Yep. So we see the first big round of shooting coming out of the Castellan here. Volcano Lance going at the drill. Looks like 2 wounds coming through. And no invul and save on that, so we're seeing 3d3 come through.
4, 5, 6.
So 6 on the first, and it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 on the second. So 10 damage coming down on the drill. And it does not explode.
This squad over here.
So 1 kill down.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8.
All right, we see the Siegebreaker cannons coming in here. 8 shots coming out of the first 43. And we've got 2s, 4 wounds coming through. Only -1, so they're going to be on 4-ups here. Ooh. Rough round of saves there. He's still got 1 model left in that Ranger squad. It looks like Mike targeted the majority of the Castellan shooting into the drill just to make sure that it died. So we're moving on to Plasma Pistol out of Mephiston into that squad. And no 6-up invul in there. Almost, but that's going to finish that Ranger squad.
Remember how we were talking about how the drill would need to dig through multiple layers of dudes? That's not a problem anymore.
It's not a problem anymore. It is not. So that flank secured.
We kind of forgot about the knight.
Yeah. Yeah, I was talking through the shooting thinking, okay, well, he's probably going to be able to get good work out of the captains here. And then once again, that knight pops up at the bottom of the corner and just blows something off the
just
table.
Not to be forgotten.
So we got the charge phase here. We've got the Angel's Wings captain. He gets in there. It looks like he's able to touch both units. And so with that, he's going to prevent any overwatch on Mephiston here. Rolls a 5, but he's quickened, so he's got the extra 3 inches on his charge. That's going to give him an 8, and he is in on the Dune Crawler. So he's got his characters in for the combat, and he's going to look to take out this final threat here in the Onager. 7 attacks coming down from Mephiston. Rerolling 1s because he's in there with the captain. Looking for 2s here and gets all of them. So 7 wounds coming through on the Onager. We're going to see the 5s rerolling 1s again here.
No, it's only 5s because the other one's dead.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
So he saves 3.
Oof. It looks like 5 D3 coming through here.
And dead.
That is going to put 11 damage down on the Dune Crawler. So
well, that was
he's looking to blow up again here.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is a bit of a foregone conclusion with those 2 characters in the combat. Definitely going to take down the Dune Crawler. But let's see how much damage Aaron's able to get out of this last explosion. Takes out 3 of his own Rangers, but that's just fine. They'll still be there.
He's rolling big on his own guys. He needs to...
We'll see if he gets 3s here. Yep, 3 on the Mephiston. We'll see if the Feel No Pains keep him up. And yeah, makes 2 Feel No Pains again.
Oh.
So he only takes 1 more damage there. It looks like Mephiston's at 2. Big 3 on the captain as well, and the captain is now at 1. He's got 6 ups though because that captain was made Death Company at the beginning of the game for the extra attack. Doesn't make him there though, so that smash captain down to 1 wound.
Blood Angels are in a weird position from 7th to 8th. They went from one of the low bar armies to just one of the most incredible combat armies in the game.
Yeah, they've really kind of come to their own since the Codex came out.
Absolutely.
And it looks like Mike's going to be using another batch of command points here. He has piled in or consolidated rather into some more of Aaron's models in the back there. Elected to fight twice and clears some more Rangers.
It's interesting that he's going so heavy this turn because he's got to have stuff to kill in turn 3 and turn 4.
Yeah, so we're at the bottom of 3 here. He's left himself with 2 units. So he'll be able to get the kills in turn 4 and turn 5, and then once he's tabled ITC, you get to score every additional point that you could score from that point. But yeah, we'll see what the total comes out to here. So at the end of Mike's turn here, he's gonna score recon. He's gonna score behind enemy lines. He's gonna store kill 1, hold 1. Aaron also got kill 1, hold 1. We're going to see hold more, kill more, and the bonus for Mike. So he's going to get a big 5 off of the primary here. And if my math is correct, then we are looking at 14 plus 6, 20, 22 for Walsh now. So a 7-point turn there, continuing to push as many points as he can. And for Aaron, we're looking at an additional 2, 4, 7s. We're looking at 9 for Aaron. So 22-9 advantage Walsh. All right, so Aaron gonna see if he can squeeze one more couple of points here. If he can kill the Smash Captain down to 1 wound, and if he can hold that objective, then he'll at least still get those extra 2 points, the kill 1, hold 1. All right, Volkite Blaster going into the Shield Captain. All right, and it looks like they're gonna rewind just a little bit here before he shoots, so that he can get last smite out of here. He's got a smite on his Kraken, goes off on a 7, seeing if he can deny. Snake Eyes on the deny, not gonna quite get there.
Gets the 1.
Gets the 1. A little bit of rub-ins there. The dice have not been too kind to Aaron here, but he has pushed for every point. You know, he's contested the objectives where he could. He's pushed flanks where he could. Tried to spread Mike as thin as he could. Ultimately, you know, the captains here, as soon as the Blood Angels characters got involved, and with that knight getting dropped on the first turn, it was going to be an uphill battle regardless.
I'm really impressed with this list, as opposed to your typical bite captain spam. The knight is performing very admirably. The army is not suffering from the loss of the bite captains, really, to speak of. And I mean, that's the best you can ask for, right? It gives you some there's a lot of strength to this list that the other variant doesn't bring to the table,
Right.
with the knight just being able to smash through armor.
Yep.
So
Because the ordo allows me to reroll.
All right, so back into the shooting phase here. We've got damage coming in on the Smash Captain, it looks like.
Okay.
Save is made, though.
The Volkite into that.
All right, here we go.
Also
More
wants to
shooting.
use the wound that
Once again, into the Captain.
do some mortal wounds, I think. It is strength 5, I believe. It's either 5 or 6. So
Strength 5 coming in. It looks like he's winning on 3s here, so we got a couple of saves.
It was 2.
2, yeah, these 2. So take that one away. And you want to
I'll
reroll
use
that
a
one?
reroll this
Yeah.
All right, reroll coming in on this save, and he's able to get it. Keeps the Captain alive. Does not get the command point back, but he'll be happy with that save, denying the kill point there. All right, Macro Stubber. This is, I believe, going to be the last bit of shooting coming out here, so he's definitely looking to get a wound here. He would love to kill this Captain on the last turn.
All right. So wounding on 4s.
All right, wounded on 4s here. He's able to get some through. Looks like three more saves coming through for the Captain.
It does not ignore cover, so.
All right, so looking for 2-ups here and gets him.
Fast, go get him shooty. Who's going to charge there?
what's a little salt for the
Alright.
wound?
And yeah, so now we're going into a charge phase, and he gets a big 11 there on the charge.
Every charge he's declared.
Yeah, just massive. Just massive charges all game long. This one might not have needed as much, but, you know, sometimes it's about sending a message.
So when I played Aaron last time, he played Stygius. Clearly, Mars is not his Forge World. He should be charging everything.
Yeah, Stygies in a pretty good spot right now in the metagame. That basically the Alpha Legion characteristics, allowing them to infiltrate in the -1 to hits. Definitely some good power-ups. So it looks like the Tech Priest not able to get damage through in the combat there. Smash Captain is going to hit back now. Looks like 3 wounds. Here come the invulns. He's able to save 2, so only 1 gets through. That's flat 3. So the Tech Priest still alive here. Interestingly enough, that's probably good news for Mike, because he needs to kill a unit on his player turn.
Which I have to wonder if Aaron maybe didn't do that on purpose, because you have to fight back.
Yeah, it's true.
So
now, in that instance, if it was very crucial for Mike to not kill that unit, he could have just thrown punches.
it's true.
So you know, it looks like he's comfortable with doing the damage there.
There's a lot more nuance in the fight phase than I think there's ever been in 40K. Really, ever.
Yeah.
The pile-in movement, the heroic interventions, and things like that. There's so much more to it now.
Yeah.
Which give armies like Blood Angels just another step up, like we were talking about.
Yeah, just even more flexibility.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. The players double checking here want to make sure that they know exactly how the scoring is going to work. If the last models in Aaron's army die this turn, but plenty of time for them to get the game finished here. They're just going to make sure they've got that right, and then Mike will make the decisions on how he's going to move around his last turn. So looking at the way this game went, Mike before the tournament was debating a lot, like you said, between the bikes and the Castellan. You've been impressed. I've been impressed. I think it looked great in this matchup. Really, the thing that that I was looking for is, does he have the mobility that he has had such advantages from? We saw in the first Barnyard tournament, that he was getting out of those Custodes bikes after removing them. And I think the change over to the Catechins from the Cadians that he ran last time, the additional infantry squad, it's really put him in a position where he can move as much as he needs to. And these guardsmen have flown across the table. Almost from corner to corner, this unit that he's moving now has gone. And those IG characters, too, just issuing move on themselves to fill space and to tag those objectives with a character and make sure he's getting the bonus point. Definitely proving that Dawn by Captains or not, this is a fast army.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the typical pieces of feedback for people who don't play this army, people who are playing against this army, is the concern on the balance for the shield captain, right? So you look at its point value, what it gets, the rerolls, the survivability, the whole bang, and it's incredible. But here we have Walsh showing, no, I'll get rid of all that.
Yep.
I'll get some anti-armor.
Yep.
I'll put up a 3-up invuln save. You know, spend the and he's not losing anything in command points. Clearly, he hasn't starved for command points. However, in this particular match, the bikes would have done just as much work as the knight. So
Yeah, it's likely.
you look back at this game, and really the only thing.
All right, so we see the volcano lance coming through here on the Inquisitor, and
Oh,
it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. The Inquisitor
hold
has
strong.
been vaporized by a volcano cannon.
Oh,
And so it looks like Mike choosing to stay in this combat. And so he is. So they're in combat. The players figuring out here, exactly how they want to play this. Mike is deciding to throw punches, like we just talked about.
Yep.
He's debating, though, the players talking through whether or not just to fall back out of this combat. At this point, with the game being effectively decided, Aaron and Mike just deciding how to work through the last bit here.
Yep.
So 2 hits, 3 hits, because he's not swinging the Thunderhammer here. And 3 wounds getting through. These are AP dash.
All saves.
And he is good. All right, now the Tech Priest hitting back.
Ooh.
3 hits. Might see something come through here on the Smash Captain. Winning on 3s, that's 2 wounds, couple of 3-up saves. Ooh, and we see the Snake Eyes, so that is a kill on the Smash Captain.
So, and this just comes back to what we were talking about earlier on your opponent's, once you're in Mike's spot, your opponent's score isn't making or breaking your score.
Right.
It is worth it to him to give up the kill 1. Even in some case, I mean, he's still going to get kill more.
Yeah, so he took out the Inquisitor here without taking out the Tech Priest. He's actually not going to get kill more this turn, so that did lose him a point, interestingly enough.
I thought he got the Rangers this turn. No, that was last turn. No, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, so going into, so with turn 4 in the books, we've got hold 1, kill 1, hold more for Mike. He's able to, I believe, score the bonus off of the other objectives. So he's going to have a 4-point primary there. Aaron able to get kill 1, and I believe, though, the objective was contested, so I don't think that he got hold 1. Looking to the secondaries, we see recon and behind enemy lines have now been maxed for Walsh, and then he'll just be looking for line breaker and last strike on old school in the coming turn here. So top of 5, we are going into a quick turn from Aaron here, putting some shooting down into Mephiston from his Tech Priest. But at the end of round 4, it looks like we've got Walsh on, let's see, 4, 18, 22, 26, 28. So another 6-point turn for him. And for Aaron, picking up 1 additional point, he will be on 10. So 26-10, advantage Mike here.
Cost himself the perfect game.
Oh, that's wrong. I did my math wrong here. 8, 10, 20, 28 points for Mike. So, yeah, 6-point turn goes from 22 to 28. So 28 points for Mike and 10 points for Aaron.
So I've got some feedback from the rest of the games, and it looks like a couple of games are still just coming into the end of turn 2. So there's a lot to be said for the caliber of player that you're playing against and the player you are, how quickly you can move through things, and how well you and your opponent can kind of just gel. And I think you'll see a lot of that early, like here in the first 2 games. But when you start to get into the bracket games, that's kind of when the kid gloves come off.
Yeah.
And it really starts to get nasty.
Speaking of the gloves coming off, Mephiston's back in combat. We see the Engineer coming in here.
When did Mephiston have his gloves on?
That's a fair point.
He's been swinging for the fences all game.
Now, was that Mephiston or was that... No, it looks like that was an IG character. My mistake. Mephiston is off to the left there. So we go into bottom of 5. It looks like Aaron was able to secure kill one, hold one. Rough Riders are going to push up here. They're going to get within 3 inches of that objective to make sure that Mike takes that. Mephiston going to go over and get on the objective as well. Castellan's going to shuffle just outside of those buildings, make sure he's got a nice firing lane. Get in there.
I think the knight was mad that he missed the first shot, because ever since
he has been,
anything he aims at just goes away.
And that's normally what happens when you fire a Castellan. Whatever it's looking at just goes away. I think the only time that didn't happen at ATC was when I shot at a fully bluffed up Spears unit that had Conceal and Fortune and all that good stuff. But here we see some shooting coming out of the Castellan.
4 wounds.
Looks like 4 wounds coming down. See if we can make some invuln saves here.
Wow. 1, how many damage each?
3d3.
Alright, 3d3 damage coming through 3 times. And it's a lot of damage. So that is...
That's the wrap.
And just so you're down, we see the players shaking hands there. We'll get a total here. So kill 1, hold 1, kill more, hold more bonus. Oh, did not get kill more, pardon me, because they traded 1 for 1 there. So that's 4, and he's going to max his secondaries. And then on the last turn, because he'll get the maximum amount he can get, he's going to get the 4 there. So totaling up through the end of the game here, we're going to have 4, 4, 4, 4, so that's 16. Some great gameplay coming out of Mike and Aaron there. After that night went down in the beginning, it was definitely going to be an uphill battle like we talked. But, you know, Aaron managed to squeeze out 12 points here. Not a bad showing at all. His target priority was on point, and he definitely made an effort to contest those objectives out on the corners, make sure he could get every point possible and make Mike earn every point he got.
Absolutely. So what you saw here was kind of the situation we talked about from the very beginning. Add mech, don't move. And especially Forge World Mars, they don't move.
Right.
The Knight was the big moving force. Losing that in turn 1 pushed him onto the back foot. Then he had to fight for the corners with the drill and the infiltrators instead of making them a threat. Going forward into future games, I don't know that Mike's going to run into the same kind of convenience that he ran into here. Ad mech are kind of, I don't want to say the scissors to his rock in this case,
Sure.
but they're very close. If there's an army that suffers the strengths of Mike's army, it's this one.
Yeah,
so
if there's any army that he plays against this weekend that can't kill the Castellan, then the rest of his army is always going to do what it does. You know, your Blood Angels, they're gonna mix it up. They're gonna take down. They're gonna make some, assassination attempts, and they're probably gonna get there.
I agree.
And the IG, they're always gonna take that board. They're always gonna cover those objectives and end up in a spot where, they're gonna push you off of objectives. They're gonna score a good amount of points. A lot of them are probably gonna die.
Right.
But
exactly.
that's totally okay from Mike's perspective. And so anytime that Castellan just gets to be in the back, killing 1, 2, 3 units a turn, it's going to be very tough for Mike's opponents to win those games.
Absolutely.
So we'll see how that plays out for him throughout the weekend. It's that was the big trade-off for him between the first Barnyard and this Barnyard, or his ATC list, versus today's tournament was that night. So great work coming out of it in this first game. We'll see if it continues to pay off throughout the weekend. We'll keep you guys updated on these players, and we'll be looking to cover another great game in round 2. We're going to be back at 12:55 for round 2. We look forward to having you guys then.
See you soon, guys.